Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the final round, round 10 of 10 of the Octane Online Racing Simrigs Sprint Series here at the fantastic Spa-Francorchamps circuit here in Belgium. My name is Alexis Bowen, and joining me for Split Yellow tonight is Ethan Kale. How are you, Ethan?
I'm doing pretty good, thanks. What about you?
I'm doing very, very well indeed. It has been a fantastic season to be watching, particularly for Split Yellow, which we have coming up for you right now. We've got the 15-minute qualifying session underway, but this season has been a spectacular watch here in the commentary booth.
Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting one from the sidelines. Split Yellow's always provided some pretty interesting racing. Definitely not being in the comms box. Just as we see the OOR banner drop there, we can see that there's rain in half an hour, and it's not light either, so looks like it's going to be a little bit spicy tonight.
Yes, no, that rain certainly does create a little bit of an issue for these drivers, especially given that a 60-minute race awaits them, which in-game will happen a little bit later, so the track conditions could be very interesting to keep an eye on. But for now, we have an optimum track condition, just ticked over to optimum, I noticed before. Nice temperature at the moment, 21-27, so very solid as we look on at Aiden Payne as he rides through Huon.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how a majority of these cars handle the variable conditions, knowing that the McLaren is quite a quick car around this track with that little zero traction control glitch. But no, it's going to be very interesting to see, I guess, who rises to the top and who's in the middle mid-pack battling.
And one of the drivers who has been rising to the top on more occasions than one is Mira Rose. She now has what I believe to be an unsurmountable lead for the Split Yellow Championship. As we look at the points now, Mira Rose, 233 points clear of Lucas Burrs, who has done fantastic in the unfavoured Nissan to be P2 in the standings without even a race win. Then Bruno Gallo, another 200 and something points behind that. So Burrs has really just been sort of in his own. Mia Rose as well has just sort of been a league of her own. Meanwhile, in the Silver Class Championship, it is all to play for between George Cook and Arno Loz, with just 28 points separating them going into this final round. And Eric Scarney a little bit further back from them, about 200 points back. So he's not in the equation, but that Silver Class battle is looking very interesting as we look at Mia Rose across the line now. 2:17.2 with Bruno Gallo currently the fastest with a 2:17.1. That's a very nice lap time to get things started off. Now back to the championship order. We have Hani Curry, the lead driver in the Pro-Am Championship. We suggest that he would take that pretty easily, sitting there P10 overall with Price and Adkins a little bit further back. Adkins has been very impressive as of late. He's come out of nowhere a little bit and has showed some great form. And then we look at the very tight AM Class Championship. Started to lean in favour of Aiden Payne. Still only 20 points between them, between him and Joe Williams. But you would suggest that Aiden Payne has the upper hand here at Spa with John Stockton a little bit further back, but not a huge amount. Another 32 points behind, or 33 points behind Joe Williams, I should say.
Just speaking of Adkins there, he's just set a 16 flat, which is up there with some of the pro split drivers from the Australian series that we're running. That is a very, very fast lap. That's, yeah, wow.
Well, he's certainly making it known that his fourth line performance at Monza last week, it was no fluke. 1 second clear of Bruno Gallo at the moment. Wow, that is an unbelievable lap time.
Yeah, to think he's only done that on his second or third lap too. I saw him pit straight away, so he's obviously just, set the lap, reset again, and hopefully we see a bit of a quicker time again. In the 15s, that's alien paced, especially around here.
Hell, even to me, looking at a 16 just seems completely alien, but getting into the 15s, that's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I've only seen a few people do it around the servers this week, so I'm sure we will see a 15 from him. just a matter of time. And I think him set his lap as Mia Rose is up 6/10. She drops a 10th, and then gains it or loses it a little bit on the exit there of the chicane and does a 16.8, which pops her up into third, half a 10th behind Gallo.
Yeah, it looks like she just ran a little bit deep going into the bus stop, so compromised her line a little bit, but overall hasn't been too bad so far for Mia Rose. Now looking on at Bruno Gower, who is sitting in P2, he has a long way to catch Adkins, who is flying out front in this qualifying session. But we know what Gower can do. He can certainly produce some great pace out of that Porsche, which is a little bit of a tricky car to get a handle of, but Gallo seems to be enjoying it enough.
Yeah, he's pretty quick in the Porsche. Gallo definitely knows how to steer it and can produce some pretty interesting lap times as well, especially at the faster end, sorry. It will be interesting to see how quick he can go as he's up 2/10 coming through the bottom of the track. Just taking a pretty nice line coming out to the back straight. And yeah.
You know, it's that sector 2 would be where the Porsche would have its biggest gains, given that Porsches aren't typically known for their straight line speed, although this newer version is certainly a little bit better than the old one. But coming through the bus stop now gets a very nice line through there, probably broke about as late as he wanted to, and he's get a decent exit, so he'll be about 3/10 up, so that will get him within half a second of Adkins, but still a long way to go for Gallo to catch up.
It seems as though the Porsche might be a little bit quicker here than first expected, as we know that McLaren is just electric around Spa. With the BMW as well, I'm not too sure how quick that car is overall around here. Haven't really seen Mia do a whole lot, as we see Herod nearly lose it coming over that curb. The Nissan as well, Burst doing a great job to hold that within a second, or just outside of a second of Adkins' time in what could possibly be the biggest boat in the game.
Yeah, no, the Bentley, which is often known as the boat, its crown has been stolen absolutely by the Nissan, which is such a tricky car to really get any pace out of, any consistency out of in the most recent patches. But Burst is able to do some magical stuff in that Nissan. I don't know how he pulls it off.
He seems to know it inside out, and it's a pretty impressive talent he's got, that's for sure.
Absolutely. As we look at Heron, as you said, he looks pretty lively going through Lecom, but right now is just under 2/10 up, so that would not improve his time at this stage. I'll improve his position at this stage, it'll improve his time, but overall, currently sitting in P6, that is a far better performance than what Heron has been able to produce as of late, and he's slowly been coming to grips with that Porsche.
Definitely a driver's car. It's not something you can just get into and nail off the bat. It takes some time, lots of patience, lots of practice. He went about a 10th quicker there, so doesn't improve the position as you mentioned, but does improve his time. As we're now on board with Adkins, who looks like he's doing his first flying lap of the stint after 2 warm-up laps. It'll be interesting to see where he might be able to find some time. His delivery is very simple, but it looks very nice.
Yeah, simple is beautiful, and Adkins' livery here is spectacular. It gives me a sort of a synth 80s sort of vibe.
Yeah, it's just clean. It's the couple of colours there on the fender. It's really cool.
Absolutely. He's got a little bit of time in hand at the moment, but it's going to be very tricky to find much at all. Like the pace that he showed on his foot, on like his one of his first laps, is just outstanding. I mean, he's still finding a little bit. It's about 700s up at the moment, which would put him agonizingly close to a 15 as he gets very, very loose there through campus. He's managed to hold on. No, he's run wide and invalidated.
The time's there for sure, especially with the track conditions improving throughout the session. Just be a matter of if he can put it all together, which looks like for that first half of the lap he he was able to, but he's running quite a loose setup, which does see it on ice skates for most of the lap.
Certainly is, and I mean, if it does end up being dry, with how loose that setup is, would he be looking at potentially running a slightly more stable setup for the 60-minute race coming up, just to make sure that he can get it to the end, even if he sacrifices just a little bit of that pace? Because he probably has the room to do that if he wanted to, but it's just a matter of, is that what he'd be more comfortable with, or would the setup he has now be preferable?
Oh, I'd definitely say that you'd have to adjust that setup. It looked way too loose, but again, with that slim margin of that perfect McLaren setup, I'm not too sure how well it runs in the wet. It's something I haven't really seen this week or at all. So that setup margin for the McLaren is very precise, and he seems to have nailed it in the dry. But if he's going to run that in the wet, there could be a pretty big chance that it would force a mistake and force his hand. It would also bring the rest of the cars up the field a little bit. It would even out, I wouldn't say a whole lot, but it would bring, the Porsche, the Ferrari, the BMW just that little bit closer, so it would also put a bit of pressure onto him. As Gallo improves by about half a tenth. Was it half a tenth? I think it was.
Yeah, it was about half a tenth.
Yeah. As we just jump on board with Mia Rose now, who was up a tenth and has lost it going through, I don't know the corner names, but coming through turn 12, looks like she's on the limit as well, as we see her coming through the bottom of the track.
I am more than happy to send you a track map if you need the names.
I've got one up and I'm still struggling.
That's alright. Well, we can see Mia Rose coming through Blanchimont now.
I did see Adkins come in the pit, so I'm not too sure if he'll get another lap in unless he's going to do a one-lap sprint. But that will be very tight if we see him improve that lap.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, he's out there at the moment. Just gonna see. He is. He's just coming around the final corner now, so he'll get one lap in.
We have had through the lap of the guards if he's going to set a 15, that's for sure.
Well, if he's able to become Greg Murphy, then he'll certainly be able to give it a crack at a lap of the gods. But we are at Spa, not Bathurst.
Mia's already found a 10th in that first sector through the first three turns. Looking pretty comfortable so far, and I do know that she has a bit of time in that middle sector that she can gain as well. So we could see a bit of an improvement to maybe fight Gallo for that front row spot.
She hasn't shown all her cards yet, but it is pretty smart getting at least a banker on the board around here as she runs one. So she is not going to be very pleased with herself. Gallo's up 0.2 of a second, and he has a little bit of time to gain at the bus stop chicane. I'm not sure whether it'll be enough to challenge Adkins, but it'll get pretty close.
Yeah, this Porsche is very, very quick as we see him approaching the entry. Very nice, very clean. Found about a 10th. What about the exit? He's found about half a 10th coming across the line. Doesn't quite improve to P1, but a very, very good quick lap nevertheless.
I'd say Gallo can be fairly happy with himself. A 2:16.395 is nothing to scoff at, and Burrs is unfortunately run wide, so he'll have to hope that no one behind him can improve. It looks like there's not too many around him. As we look now at George Cook, who's about a 10th down at the moment, but he's still sitting in P10. Slade once again doing wonderful things in that Ferrari up in P8, the 560 Pro-Am car. He had a few issues last week with his connection and unfortunately dropped out, but hopefully he can make amends for it this week.
Yeah, the Ferrari is going to be a hard car to get around here quickly. It hasn't seen much pace throughout the week. Doesn't have the best BOP. So he's done a very, very good job to get that into P8, especially in front of Sasha, who's a very, very quick driver in the split.
Sasha has shown great pace. Like throughout the mid-season, Sasha Dev was very, very fast, very, very speedy, and They're only in P9. Well, that would be P10 because Cook goes fast. Adkins was not able to improve, but he once again takes pole position as we do have rain for
Here we
Split
go.
Yellow. Oh boy. The final race of the season for Split Yellow, and it is wet. It looks like it's going to be decreasing a little bit, but this rain is sticking around.
This is definitely spiced things up. Now, I saw a little predictor during the week. I believe it was a 16 or 17% chance of being wet. It does seem to drop off about 10 minutes into the race, but looks to be increasing again half an hour. So this rain could well and truly have settled into this race, and it definitely throws another curveball at the drivers to prepare a wet setup if that's their go-to. And just to navigate the circuit, because Spa's deadly enough in the dry, let alone the wet.
You know, Spa knows how to bite at the best times, but when you throw rain into the equation, it is even harder to get around, and these drivers have got a big task ahead of them. We look at the grid order now, so it is Adkins who takes pole position once again. From Gallo, Mia Rose in P3. It's probably one of the worst qualifying performances for a little while, which I mean, P3, that's still stellar in this field. Then Burrs, McDonald, Herod doing nicely there in P6, Johnston in P7, Slade once again impressing there in P8, the second of the Ferraris. Then we've got Cook and Def rounding out your top 10. Now, I have not seen Arno Loz at all in this field.
Yeah, I haven't seen him pop up either. Don't even think he's at the bottom. So might not have attended. Let me have a look at the attendance and see if he marked it.
Well, if Arno Loz is not here, then that means that George Cook will be your silver class champion for Split Yellow.
Yeah, unfortunately, Loz has not attended tonight. He's marked it as absent. So, yeah, there you go. I'd say Cook is Loz behind Cook still?
Yes.
Okay, well there we go. So Cook just really has to finish the race, and yeah, silver class championship for him.
Yeah, well, he doesn't even need to race, and he'll be silver class champion.
Park it up if he wants to, yeah.
Of course, we're not condoning that by any stretch of the imagination, but either way, that is a big result for George Cook. We are now getting ready for the very long formation lap around here. Of course, this is one of the longest permanent circuits.
Oh no. He hasn't clicked drive and has returned to the pits.
Oh dear.
The rain's already affecting some. That's a big shame. I was really looking forward to seeing how Nathan was going to drive at the front of the pack in that McLaren. As we saw, it was very loose in qualifying, and it would have been interesting to see how well it handled in the wet. So Gallo's now been promoted to P1 with Mia Rose on the front row. Oh, Mia Rose on the front row. There we go.
Yeah. Well, this is going to be interesting how these drivers actually form up grid, because usually it would just mean that that grid slot is just empty. So would that mean that just Gallo just has a clear run through to Oru's Radiant?
Well, it depends. I mean, sometimes it will adjust. Sometimes the game will adjust that grid position, and because it's not run by the game as well, Mia will be able to move up into P2. I'm not too sure if that's against the rules or not. I do know that if you've started the formation lap and then a driver disconnects, that grid slot does stay empty. But because Adkins didn't take the grid, technically didn't take the grid, it could mean that Mia does push up to the front row.
Well, we'll find out once we get towards the end of this formation lap, but that is, yes, it's an error that is easy enough to make, that's for sure, but you never want to see it happen, let alone to the pole sitter. And when the pole sitter is a Pro-Am driver as well, that just, yeah. But it's all a learning process at the end of the day, and Adkins will undoubtedly learn from it.
Yes, it will be a mistake that he never makes again, that's for sure.
Yeah. But we'll get going soon enough, just awaiting the end of this formation. As we said, it is a very, very long one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these cars do handle in the wet, who's taking that wet setup approach, as it looks like Mia is pulling up to that second spot on the grid. It'll be interesting to see how many drivers have taken that wet setup approach. I guess we know the race is going to be wet for the entire time, so I'm sure a lot have, but that also then falls down on who's done wet practice throughout the week and who hasn't.
Okay, so we're just getting word in that there are a few drivers who have started this race on dry tyres. We believe Kranich and Gulick.
An interesting approach, as it will be raining for the next 10 minutes. It'd be interesting to see how they go through Eroge and Radio, and how they come out of it as well, just as they're coming. Oh no, we still got a few corners, don't we?
Yes. So, and it looks like Gallo will be I don't know. It's a little hard. It looks like Mia Rose is still in the same sort of line with Burrs in a way.
Yeah, I think they've just all pushed up a little bit. So Gallo, who, if you're on pole, you should have the inside line, has now taken the outside line. So Mia Rose is a chance on taking the lead through the first few turns.
So we'll cut to the green flag very, very shortly, but it is now Gallo, Rose, Burrs, McDonald, Herod, Johnston, Slade, Cook, Tatlian, and Liu, your top 10 to start off this race as we go racing here at Spa, and it is a good launch from Gallo. Burrs is up the inside, Mia Rose. Can he get there? No, Rose manages to hold on the inside. It could be a bit of calamity going through here. It's very wet. Oh, there's a Porsche off there, but has managed to keep it going, and I think most drivers have managed to get through Origin Radion pretty safely. It looks like that was Andy Bishop who won it, but
have just seen a Ferrari go round at the back.
Yes, that is the 266. That is Gulick, who is one of our dry starters, so that is no big surprise. But Mia Rose looks like she has good pace, and there is the safety car.
We see a bit of a calamity at the back. I saw the 77. Who's the 77? They have gone off first, or they've gone around, and it looks like it's caused a bit of a chain reaction at the back of the field. Looked like Burrs was going to stick it around the outside there, coming up Rouge through Radion. Probably a smarter idea that he did back out of that, because it is a 60-minute race after all. However, that would have been a very, very good move to make on Mia Rose.
Undoubtedly, and in these conditions, it is kind of possible, but definitely not advised. But yeah, it would have been interesting how the race turned out if Burrs had managed to make that move. But either way, it's going to be an interesting race the whole way through with Gallo, Rose, Burrs, McDonald, and Herod all up there. Looks like Perkins has returned to pit lane.
Must have been caught up at that incident at the back, but it does also bring Adkins back into this as well, just as we cut to a replay of what did happen at the back.
Oh.
This is a bit of a awkward situation on the grass. Oh my. That's a very awkward situation. I've never seen anything like that before. It looks to have just spun into the wall, and not sure. Yeah, it must have. That's weird. I guess once you end up on that grass, you're not stopping. That's your race over. You're going to end up in a wall somewhere, but it does look like maybe an equipment failure or something occurred. Not sure.
Yes. I don't know what to say about that, but we'll be getting this race back underway very, very soon. It will be Yellow still leading the way. Looks like has it gone? Oh no.
77. So it looks like Pickford got caught up in that incident, and I'm pretty sure a few drivers behind him did too. As Gallo looks to have already bolted on the exit of the bus stop there, coming into turn 1, keeping a decent gap to Mia Rose, hoping to keep that decent gap to Mia Rose.
That's a tough ask, but Gallo can certainly give it a crack. Looks like Bose was going to challenge Mia Rose going into. Wasn't quite able to. That is a very fast line there for Mia Rose. I'm not sure if she cut the corner or not, but either way, she's now putting all the pressure on the world up to Gallo and has a run around the outside, potentially going to the Lakecom chicane. She has to go the long way around. She's going to try and do it. Is there going to be contact? No. Gallo just holds on. That was so close.
Yeah, it looked to be like she might have cut that a little bit, but that is enforced. Oh, as Mia has given Gallo a little tap coming around the hairpin. Gallo holding that inside line, but that line being very, very slippery. Mia on the very slippery AstroTurf on the outside. This is all bunched up. Now, Burrs looks like to have dropped the position as well to McDonald by the looks.
Yes, he has. McDonald has managed to get the jump on Burrs. That throw will have a little bit potentially in the rain, or at least more than it would in the dry conditions around here. This might be helping McDonald a little bit, who does look to have a bit of pace about him.
Yeah, the wet definitely brings the Ferraris back into this race. As Mia Rose runs just a little bit wide coming through those two turns, as she seems to have gathered it back up. I'm interested to see how track limits are going to play out today, because in the wet it can vary sometimes. It can be either very harsh or very, very relaxed, so that could come into play later in the race.
Well, that was committed from Mia Rose, and she's got a very good run now. Can she do anything to bust up chicane? No. Just to just hold behind for now, but that BMW has a hell of a lot of pace in the rain.
Yeah, it seems to be quicker than the Porsche, but I guess we'll see as well, as Mia Rose does do the fastest lap of the race at 2:28.5. Not unexpected, and to think that she's, gone on the AstroTurf a few times and has been battling Gallo throughout the lap, that's a pretty impressive time.
McDonald is under a hell of a lot of pressure now from Burrs, who will have a decent amount of straight line speed in that Nissan with the turbo. It has to get through a very, very fast, very tricky corner here. It looks like they're all cutting it, but you can cut it to a certain point. As Mia Rose is now side by side with Gallo, and she's further up alongside the outside. Who breaks latest? Is it going to be Rose? Is it going to be Gallo? And Rose has taken it. Rose has taken the lead.
Seems as Gallo might be running a little bit more rear wing on his setup, or Mia is just going. As Gallo just saves it off the curb there, the very slippery curb. That could have been dangerous. Oh, as Mia Rose runs wide, this is spicy.
Very spicy now. Gallo dives up the inside. Mia Rose is spooked by Gallo going up the inside, and now he has the line going towards Puan. Can Gallo retake the lead after nearly binning it himself? Yes, he can. We have a battle on here, folks.
Yeah, it looks like she's just fallen off the perfect tram track line, as we see that the conditions are now damp, so there would definitely be that tram track line. As Mia Rose shows the nose, but does not quite get it done, and slots in behind Gallo.
Oh, this final round has already produced so much excitement now. Yeah, the track condition is damp, but it is meant to get a little bit wetter in about 10 minutes time, so these conditions will only worsen once again, but these drivers do need to be a little bit careful. The tyres might just overheat a little bit.
Yeah, definitely need to start looking for that wet line soon. The damp track will see them start to peak at a tyre pressure, but they shouldn't fully overheat.
Yeah, Well, Mia Rose just seems to be so much more committed through the fast corners. Like, through Blanchimont there, she has a look down the inside. The bus stop can't do anything there. But also through Radion, she carries so much more speed than what Gallo can.
Seems to have a lot more confidence in the car, that's for sure, as Mia Rose goes about a second quicker this lap. So the conditions we see are improving a little as that battle with Gallo is still going on, with Burrs going down the inside of McDonald, as it looks like McDonald broke just a little bit late for turn 1.
Yeah, he did that last lap as well. Maybe not quite in touch with the conditions just yet, but we'll see. What is the run through Radion like? Mia Rose is taking such a tight line, such a clean line as well, as Burrs runs off the road, and that will now allow Herod to potentially shape up a move on Burrs and McDonald as Mia Rose is in the slipstream. Gallo defends the inside as we now look to see what Burrs can do on McDonald going through the chicane, and McDonald holds on.
Yeah, some very spicy battles at the front, with Mia Rose she's better under the brakes. She looks more comfortable in that car. I think it's just a matter of time before she does get in front of Gallo and pull ahead. As Gallo has a massive power slide. Wow, he is on the limit.
All of these drivers are on the limit. McDonald is all over the road there in the background as he's trying to hold off Burrs, who looks like he's starting to find a bit of pace, but they do need to be careful because Herod is right there. Now Burrs up the inside at the exit of Kuon. Does he move up into P3 or does McDonald dive it up the inside? Who gets it here? Well, that is very deep for McDonald now. Burrs has to switch back, and does he get position? No, McDonald still sticking the nose up in there. But I think it's just too little too late now. Burrs retakes P3.
This is some hell of a battle, especially on these really challenging conditions. It does seem to me, as the last time they came through Radion, that track limits might not be a factor tonight, as it looked like most of them cut that first, that coming up the hill. And with the wet weather settling in as well, and for this first stint, with the track getting slower, there will be a little bit more flexibility around the track usage.
Certainly will be, but that they do say that rain is the great equalizer, and we're seeing that right now. This is a fantastic balance. Herod gets so close. I think they may have even tapped there, but Herod now all over the back of McDonald's rear wing. Now going through La Source, can he go around the outside of the Ferrari, or can he still commit to braking just that little bit later? No, McDonald has gotten the braking marker right there, so Herod will just have to wait until after Radion and going through the Camel Straight to try and get past McDonald, as Burrs is now breaking away from these two.
Yeah, Burrs breaking away. It looks like Herod gave him just a little tap as McDonald struggled to get the power down on the AstroTurf. With Herod looking like he's got a bit of a run too. McDonald going defensive very early on the straight. And I'm sure he will hold that line going into the corner, which he does. Braking around the same. Oh, as Herod looks like he broke on the curb there. Unsettling the car just a little bit and giving McDonald now a little bit of breathing room between himself and Herod.
Yeah, well, that was a heck of a moment there, as Mira is still all over the back of Gallows. Douglas Keane gets a 15-second penalty for causing a collision on lap 1. I assume he was involved in some of that calamity on the Campbell Straight as Mia Rose shows the nose. Oh, wow.
As we do see Perkins get a stop go 30 for that collision on lap 1. We're not too sure what happened there, but do know he's not going around at the moment. Could have been an equipment failure, I'm not sure. It was a very awkward situation. I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. I would like to see Mia Rose's lap time this lap, as it was around half a second as they crossed the line, and now it is within a 10th.
Just saw Perkins pulled over to the side there. He may have left the lobby now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird situation, but that's all good. As we see Mia Rose power sliding again, coming through Blushimon. and having another run on Gallo coming into the bus stop, taking that outside line. Gallo going defensive and holding on still as Grandlou gets a 10-second penalty for being out of position on lap 1, so might not have gone over the grid box.
That's easy done around here, especially given that you're just coming around the first turn as the green flag falls. But Mia Rose is much closer on this occasion, and her runs through Radion have been fantastic, so she's in prime position to have a run on Gallo here.
Just as they're battling, I'd like to just pay close attention to Burz's gap. That he's just gone 7/10 quicker than Mia Rose in the last lap at least, as he's gone 7/10 faster than the fastest lap. As Mia Rose again has another look around the outside of Gallo, but it's always going to be hard to do that. Running a little bit deep in Gallo, continuing to hold that line.
Yeah, I just wonder if Gallo could be the cork in the bottle tonight, as another cork of Tom McDonald is still holding on to Matthew Herod behind.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the race pans out, and especially how well the Porsche holds on to those wet tyres. As Mia, again, looking around the outside, but going for the switchback. Gallo holding a very defensive line, being stuck behind Gallo in several races of my own. He's definitely a king of being the best defender. Knows where to place the car, how to place the car, and how to push you into some really awkward positions where you got to think on your toes.
And he's not phased by the offensive throws that Mia Rose is pulling right now. He's defending very, very nicely at the moment in a car that looks quite a bit slower than the BMW that Mia Rose is throwing. Sure, that's a bit of a slide there for Gallo.
Yeah, he definitely can soak up the pressure, as we see Burz has gained a second through that middle sector on Mia Rose. It'll be interesting to see, how, especially Burz now coming into this battle. Was Rose looking for a bit of water there?
No, I think that was Gallo looking for water. He was right over to the inside.
Very, very interesting. One of them was out of line because they weren't following each other as they normally have been.
Either way, these drivers are now starting to contend with a few tyre issues, which probably isn't helped by the fact that they're sliding all over the place, but Burz sets another fast lap, a 2:26.2. Could the final round of the season be the round where Lucas Burz finally gets a win?
I would say if it's any round, it's this round. He is absolutely flying in that Nissan, and with the rain around here, it has brought him right into this.
The track is back to wet. The track is back to wet conditions.
So with this wet weather as well, I know the Nissan goes right in the wet, but he seems to just be one with the car. He's pulled that gap back again, another second this lap. So in a couple of laps, I'm sure we'll see him right on the back of this battle pack.
Yeah, so Gallo and Burz are the ones looking for water. Mia Rose is seemingly fine with it at the moment. I wonder if maybe Gallo and Burz are just running slightly higher pressures than what Mia Rose is.
That might explain her pace at the moment and her ability to attack Gallo a little bit harder. As we see the rain's increasing a significant amount now, later on in this stint, we might see her drop back a little bit as the pressures that she has set will end up below the optimum temps.
Well, at least in these conditions, you have the option of coming into the pits to use up your mandatory pit stop to adjust those pressures on a different set of the wet tyres.
We'll see them up their pressures a significant amount now that the heavier rain's coming in. As
that was close.
Very close to tapping Gallo. That could have been Burz's ticket there.
Yeah, but even then, it's brought Burz a hell of a lot closer, and it is now a 3-car lead for the win around here at Spa in Split Yellow. This is unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, that's now down to 4/10 from Burz to Rose, so he's caught up another 6/10 this lap. So it is a three-way lead for the lead. Sorry, a three-way fight for the lead, my lord. As they have pulled a 5-second gap to P4, so that's just something pretty significant happens here. We'll probably see these three battling until the end.
Just Oh, Mia Rose around the outside. There's a bit of contact. Burrs has this opportunity. Can he get the run? Can he get the exit and get past? Mia Rose going into the source. This is going to be very, very tight. They are side by side. Mia Rose tried to get around the outside, but couldn't do anything about it. Now, can Burrs potentially have a go at Gallo? Even then, he's going to get past Rose and up into P2, and now has the perfect opportunity to take the lead.
This is going to be very spicy coming through Radion and Arouge, especially as Mia Rose is taking a hell of a lot of speed through this turn. It's like Burrs as well, he's just flat out, and with them cutting the corner.
Oh, but look at Rose's line.
Very, very quick. I would not be surprised to see her round up Burrs before the end of the straight, and even give Gallo a bit of a fright here.
Yeah, Mia Rose is back up in the P2. Her line through Radion is just outstanding.
She's maximising pace through there, and it's definitely paying dividends come the end of the straight in these wet conditions.
We are only 19 minutes into this race, and we have had so much happening, but further down, I just want to give a quick shout out to Aiden Payne, who is currently sitting P10 and is looking to consolidate the M-Class Championship for Split Yellow with a stellar result. Joe Williams too, there in P13. He's currently second in the M-Class standings, but still doing a fantastic job.
Atkins has also come from the back to be P17 currently, so he seems to be, I wouldn't say carving up the field, but making very good progress.
Absolutely, and it looks like Burrs may just have lost a little bit of pace, having pushed those tyres, trying to catch up to Gallo and Rose. He's fallen back just that little bit now.
Yeah, it seems as though Rose is very good through the first sector and halfway through that second sector, and just drops off a little bit coming through the bottom of the track, but then gains all that time back coming through the bus stop, which is the very, very important fact here, because that is where the overtake's made.
Absolutely, that's one of your only real opportunities. Is that is very wide there from Burrs. That would be a track limits.
So it seems as though this battle pack has calmed down a little bit. I'm interested to see where the people that are pitting are coming out. I was having a look earlier, it seems as though they came out in the middle of the pack that is currently racing around that hasn't made a pit stop. With the pit lane being so long, it throws another curveball in about strategy. When should you pit so you're not in the leader's traffic, or when you're not going to come out having to pull over for anybody.
Just comparing the lines through Radion. And yeah, Mia Rose is just flying through there. I don't know how she's able to pull off a line like that.
Comes down to confidence. If you're not confident in yourself and you're in the car and the abilities of leaning on the car through the corner, then you're not going to be quick. So she's obviously very confident in the machine that she's got under her at the moment, and she's able to push it to the absolute limit.
McDonald has a drive-through penalty for track limits.
There you go. So track limits must be pretty harsh. I guess it just depends, doesn't it? But that's tough. He was on for a very good result. It looks like Herod got past him as well at some point, but that's probably the worst. It is the worst track to get a drive-through at, with the transition through pit lane being a very long time. I'm not quite sure.
2 seconds. Mia Rose is under a bit of pressure here from Burrs. She made a little bit of mistake going through turn 11. Oh, that is very loose, very slippery. Okay, her tyres are no longer in the right window as the rain is getting heavier and heavier and heavier.
And it's just going to get wetter and wetter and wetter out there. So it's a very, very challenging conditions for all of the drivers.
Absolutely. Does this favour the likes of Gallo and Burrs to potentially have a bit more pace now than Mia Rose? And will she have the confidence to run at so much speed through Radion like she has?
It'll just be interesting to see, especially at the end of this stint, to find out yes or no. I'm sure when she adjusts her pressures at the next pit stop, it might even out a little bit. And again, with the confidence she's got in that BMW at the moment, I'm sure she'll be able to hold her own in this pack, but it will just depend.
Certainly would, but we have an intriguing race here at Spa. Just put yellow. 23 minutes in, and our order is Gallo, Rose, Burrs, Herod, McDonald with a drive-through penalty, who is now serving that drive-through penalty, and it is a big drive-through around here, so he's going to go all the way down, which means Tatlian, Johnston, Lou, Cook, Payne, Piper, Holmes, Williams, Withers, Curry, and Icarus will all jump above him, as will likely Adkins, Slade, and Bishop.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough penalty to pay that drive-through. It's just an absolute killer around here. I'm going to place my bet and say that most of this field that has not pit will pass him as we see him just come around the bend in the pit lane, and yeah, it looks like most of the field will get past. So that's a really big shame for McDonald, as he had a lot of pace in that Ferrari, and the wet conditions, we gave him every single chance attacking for that final spot on the podium.
Absolutely. Will not be pleased as we look now at Adkins, who is just behind Icarus and is looking to make a move on the Ferrari. He's in the slipstream. Is he going to dive it up the inside of Lecom? He's going to go for it, and he dives it, and that is a very clean move. Very clean. Icarus was not fighting that one.
No, and I think he's smart not to battle it, seeing as Adkins did pop it on pole. The car seems a little bit more settled than it did in qualifying. I know I've only watched it for a few turns, but it seems as though he's very confident behind that wheel, slowly making up spots. I wouldn't be surprised to see him in that top 10, you know, halfway through the next stint.
Certainly, he's got confidence and he's got good form to send himself into the next season.
He's giving himself every single chance. I mean, he looks very comfortable in that McLaren, with McLaren being quite a quick car at the moment, as Piper runs a little bit wide, maybe just running offline. But we're seeing that these conditions, the heavier conditions, some of these drivers are starting to struggle, and when you run offline, you just kiss it goodbye. You've got no grip out there at all. You really need to stay in those tram tracks.
Yeah, you have to be very methodical about the Piper made a bit of a mistake, as Gallo is the first of our league drivers to come into the pits, as Johnston, second driver with a drive-through.
I don't think he's going to be the last either. That's a pretty big dagger. Again, he was running in a very, very good spot, but falling down behind McDonald, who has dropped to P19. So we'll see Johnson drop down to P19 as well after that drive-through, and McDonald jumping up one spot.
Indeed, as we yeah, so Johnston is now serving his drive-through penalties. We saw him come into the pits. Looks like it was Williams who came in. See a bit of battling there between. No, that. Yeah, okay, yeah, no, that is Withers and Curry. Curry getting up the inside. Now Adkins in the slipstream of Benjamin Piper, going through Eau Rouge and Radion now.
Yeah, it seems very, very planted. He seems very confident. Straight line speed doesn't seem to be a problem either. So
now in the slipstream, is he going to go for the same move at the inside of Lecom? It's going to be a lot tougher to do it on Benjamin Piper. He has a look. Can't make anything of it.
A bit far back, I think, in a lap or two, as these drivers are starting to, seeing as Piper did make a mistake, probably stuck behind drivers there a little bit quicker then, so they'll back up a little bit, and I'm sure he'll have a move into the bus stop.
Where's Gallo? Gallo's coming out in a good amount of clean air at the moment, is around the outside of Hani Curry. Looks like Curry made a bit of a mistake. Curry's holding it. Will he try at the inside of Pooh? He's holding it there, holding it there, holding it there. But Adkins, I think, just has the grip. He gets very loose, but manages to hold on to it.
That was a great move around the outside. And just touching on Gallo's clean air, this will be really good for him. But it'll be interesting to see how Mia and Burrs also slot into around Gallo. It seems as though they're battling, so this could be a bit blessing in disguise for Gallo, getting a bit of clear air, getting into a rhythm. But again, it will be interesting to see where Mia and Burrs come out in relation to Gallo, seeing if they've gained a little bit of time or lost a little bit of time, as we thought Gallo was that cork in the bottle.
Yeah, it looks like at the moment Mia and Lucas have about the same pace there. Still separated by about 0.4 of a second, just a tatly oncoming. Looks like before just Chris Withers made a little bit of a mistake, so Adkins is now up into the top 10, albeit with a few drivers pitting.
Yeah, it seems as Slade made a little mistake around the bottom of the track as well. Just saw him under yellow flag, so must have dropped back a little bit. Maybe he had a spin coming onto the back straight.
Yeah, there's going to be quite a few mistakes from quite a few different drivers tonight, which is no big surprise given the conditions we have. But still plenty of racing action to go. Half an hour in this one, and of course we've got Split Green coming up in about, well, just after this race finishes. We'll have a little bit of break once this race finishes, but we'll get to Split Green as soon as we can following.
So Slade's just jumped into the pits with a couple of drivers up ahead. Might have gotten a little bit of damage down there. Not too sure again. However, coming into the pits, change the tyres, adjust the pressures for these heavier conditions. The track temp and the ambient has dropped a degree, so it's not a huge amount, but the water on the track is going to change the PSI of the tyre and the way that the car is sitting on the road.
It's a lot of tyre talk that I'm not as familiar with. All I know is pressures go up, pressures go down.
And you pray you get them right half the time.
Yes. And the window for you getting them right seems to change every update, so...
So, Rosenberg's just coming around to the bus stop now. Wonder if one of them will pit now, seeing as we're halfway through the race. It's about the time that we expect drivers to start coming in. Looks like Rose has just jumped in now. So, let's see how Burrs goes on this final lap, what presumes to be his final lap, and see where Rose comes out relative to Gallo on track.
Keep an eye on things. For the moment, we're just sticking on with Adkins. Jump across to Miro's when we are able to, just having a few minor issues as we did last week, so hold on tight. Keep an eye on those Dodgers. Miro's is now just going around the bend in pit lane. And,
sorry to butt in. Is that Piper looks to have disconnected from the race. I saw him just off the track there, and he's no longer on the timing screen, which is a bit of a shame because qualified very, very well up the front. A couple of mistakes. It might have been a latency problem, might have been a different problem, but I have just seen him disconnect, which is pretty disappointing.
Yes, and here is Miro's now stopping in the box. Gallo is currently going through Blanchimont. So we'll see roughly where Rose comes out in comparison to Gallo. Gallo looks like he's had a bit of pace.
Yeah, he seems to have made up a bit of ground. It's going to be tight, that's for sure. But he was going to have that speed coming through Eau and Radion, coming down the Camel Straight, which might see him hold on to this position.
We'll see when Rose starts moving. Rose is moving now, but the pit exit line is a little further up. It's going to be tight, but Rose will have to be very careful coming out of the pits on those tyres.
It's a very slippery pit lane in the dry, let alone the wet, so this is going to be spicy.
It looks like she currently has a gap, but Gallo will be gaining a little bit, but I think Rose has it pretty clearly.
I reckon she's kept that. I don't think Gallo's going to gain that much gap coming down this back half of the Camel Straight.
Well, so the overcut has worked out pretty well for me, Rose. Now, what's it going to be like for Lucas Burrs, who will be coming in pretty soon, you'd expect? Looks like Is he continuing on?
Yeah,
Yes.
seems to be continuing on. Just seemed favour having a yellow flag as well. On the outside of Puon, might have just ran off the track, maybe hit that, maybe hit the curb on the outside and it's pushed him off into that runoff. I'm not too sure, but it's good to see him going again.
Heroes may have a little bit of traffic to contend with in the form of Pickford in the Bentley. Just a little bit, but Pickford is no slouch, or Bentley is not the fastest car anymore.
No, unfortunately not, but with our new BOP that will be running, it would be good to see the Bentley brought back into the game, as I know that it is a favourite car for some drivers, but they've just chosen not to drive it because it isn't very quick.
I love the Bentley, and it was sad not seeing it for a while, but great to see at least Pickford giving it a go.
Yeah, it's all it's about, giving it a go, and if he's having fun in it, that's the main thing. Seems to be going alright as well, as Mia Rose is coming through Blushamon, looking very, very stable in that car. I'm sure the pressure's had a big part to play in maybe the looseness of it in the first stint. I guess we'll see as the stint goes on.
Keep an eye on things, but he does have that track to contend with. It's probably at a good spot to get it though. Coming through here, Pickford gets out of the way nicely.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Allows Rose to get up the inside.
Yeah, speaking of traffic, I'm expecting Burrs to come in this lap, as he is hitting a couple of back markers down the bottom. It will be, again, interesting to see where he does come out, as he was a few tenths behind Rose before the pit stops. So it could split them. He might come out in front or behind Gallo.
I have a feeling he should come out ahead of Gallo, but yeah, the interesting one's going to be where is he compared to Mia Rose.
Yeah, it's an awkward situation with Gallo. I mean, he might not have had the best pit entry or exit, might not have stopped in the box. Not stopping in the box is probably the most likely, as that's about the gap, as Mia Rose very, very loose there on the AstroTurf. She's given it full beans, but
Yeah, Burrs is in.
He is in, so this will be interesting to see where he comes out.
I think the key thing to keep an eye on is when I should say Burrs actually stops compared to where Mia Rose is on the track.
Yeah, it looked like Gallo was coming through Blushamon, or just the start of the back straight when Mia Rose stopped. But again, like you said, it will be interesting to see whereabout it is, so we can have, I guess, a little prediction.
Yes, indeed. Now, Burrs has come around that bend now in the pit lane. So Mia Rose gets a little bit loose there through campus. Stopping very... Oh yeah, Mia Rose is really pushing it, really hustling it.
Seems as though he hasn't quite hit the markers yet, still moving just a little bit. And this is about, there we go, now he's finally stopped. This is about where Gallo was with Mia. These two are a lot closer previous the pit stop. Mia does look like she is going flat out, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see her come out in front. But again, anything can happen at the moment.
Keep an eye on Burrs when he starts moving. Looking on at Mia. Doesn't look like Burrs is moving just yet, so Mia should come... No, Burrs is moving, but I think Mia should come out pretty clearly ahead.
Yeah, I'd say so with that speed coming through Radion, but Burrs is now off and away. This is going to be tight. I reckon he's going to slot in behind Mia, but just in front of Gallo. But with these fresher tyres and a smaller fuel load, he might be able to apply a little bit of pressure at the end of the race onto Mia.
Yeah, no, the gap is slightly larger, but it's still pretty comparable to what it was before the pit stop. So Burrs has put himself in a really nice position, and we saw the pace that he had earlier. So Burrs is still well and truly in this one. That is a big accident for the McLaren there.
Just trying to work out who that was. Keen. That was very big hit. Very lucky not to come back onto the track and impact the leader's run here, but it is unfortunate to see him in the wall. Seems as though he's trying to get it going again, but if he is going to make another pit stop, we're going to see him fall down the field a bit with not only the transition but the damage as well.
Yeah, it was a hefty impacted with the wall, so a little bit, but overall his race wasn't particularly outstanding by any stretch of imagination. Of course, he had the penalty earlier for causing a collision on that one.
Yeah, just not his night. You have those nights where if something doesn't go right, a lot of the time, nothing's going your way. But it's good to see him getting the car going again with, I'm sure, a lot of front end damage as Burrs is just drifting that car coming through the bottom of the track. But again, he's only within a second of Rose, so I reckon he is going to apply that pressure come the end of the race, and we're going to have a serious battle on our hands.
So we've got Perkins coming into the chat saying that the game crashed on the straight and it just kept going. Okay.
Yeah, if the game crashes, I don't believe the car immediately cuts out. Like it continues going until the servers have recognised that. So that's must have what must have happened. His game has crashed, but the server hasn't picked up that.
Oh, that is deep from Burrs.
Burrs runs very deep, and no doubt will drop probably half a second to a second come the end of the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, that's a big mistake from Burrs, but unlucky there, Perkins.
Yeah, it's a shame that the game cut out like that. It's the worst feeling ever, and you know, I just feel sorry for the people on the end of that.
Look at Panikuri now, who is just behind Williams, who has jumped up into P10 now. So both of our AM class championship contenders are having very solid races, as that is nice track limit warnings there for you two.
Yeah, I'm not going to comment on those track limits, but if you're running that wide, wow, that's quick.
Yes.
So just looking at Williams' best lap time compared to the one at the moment, seems to be around a 3.5 to 4 second a lap slower than when we were in those damp conditions. So that's probably where they're sitting about at the moment. I'm going to presume the track is still getting wetter with those little plus signs at the top, and those times are only going to get slower, but as the fuel burn comes off, we might see them settle a little bit.
Yes, we should, as we see Bree with a little bit of a run, but I don't think we'll be able to make too much of that. And looking at Gallo, who was looking so good earlier on, but yeah, just not quite the best pit stop in the world, and yeah, is now fallen 3.5 seconds behind Burrs, who's now starting to gain back on Mia Rose.
It just seems as though these extra wet conditions aren't suiting that Porsche. Not too sure if it's a good wet car or not, but this definitely helps the front end cars with their stability. Just a little honourable mention, I've noticed that Adkins, as Burrs gets a drive-through penalty in P2, that is race done. Wow.
Oh dear.
So they must be pretty harsh. They must not like the GTR today. As it looks like Rose has made lots of track cuts too, but must just be getting away with it. But Burrs with that awesome pace in the Nissan, that's it. That is the final kick.
That is devastating. Actually devastating now for Burrs. Yeah, he's pushing those track limits beyond what you'd expect.
As I was going to say before, also I've just noticed that Adkins is up into P7 now. So he's come from last with the pit lane to being into P7 and arguably P6 after Burrs' drive-through. So that is a hell of a comeback drive, and it would have been interesting to see how he would have handled being on that front row, as it seems as though these cars are a lot quicker in the wet, but I wasn't too sure how much slower that McLaren would have been.
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. I have a feeling Adkins would have had the pace of these drivers out front, but yeah, unfortunately, just forgot to hit drive and went to the back of the look at where Burr's picked up his backwards penalty, and it's going to be just running too wide at Blanchard. Oh,
wow.
Yeah, that's where you got these track limits.
Which is weird because the boys earlier ran well off, and obviously we don't have all the statistics here in front of us, but if that's a track limits, the ones before must have been too.
Yes. It just depends on how often they're doing it. Yeah, no. That's pretty much race over for Burrs, but anything can happen. He'll just be dropping right down to the back. Oh dear, he's drifted again.
He's attacking Blochmont very hard, and I'd say a lot of these drivers are. But unfortunately, with Burrs having that drive through, he's going to give Mia Rose that even bigger gap over Gallup. Oh, wow, as he drifts coming into the pit lane, that is hairy, and it just goes to show the pit lane, like I said before, even in the dry is pretty crazy. But in the wet, it's just all over the shop.
Unlucky Burrs. Look now at I believe this is George Cook.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah.
Showing, yeah, Cook, he's currently showing as P6. We'll jump up to P5 with Burrs' drive-through penalty.
Doing a very good job, Cook, this race. With us joking about how he could have just parked at pre-race, he's definitely shown us up by, at the moment, leading this Silver Championship by not only the points in hand, but by a pretty decent gap over the next driver, who is Bishop in P15. So he's doing a very good job in the wet.
Indeed he is. He's going to come out, just ahead of Burrs. Or Burrs will come out just behind Cook, I should say.
Yeah, I reckon Burrs might apply a little bit of pressure at the end of the race, but Cook does seem very confident, very calm in the McLaren today, which is really, really good to see in drivers.
Certainly, Adkins will be going up. Williams has gotten ahead of Payne. It is now P8 versus P10.
Yeah, I didn't see that. It seems as though Payne might have made a little mistake, because didn't he have a pretty hefty gap over the two in front?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he must have gone off somewhere, maybe when we weren't paying attention. But Williams is battling Curry for that P8 spot, but it is bringing Payne back into that battle too.
Right now, that would have no implications on the championship. Payne would still take it, but if Payne drops down any further, or Williams finds a few more positions, then that could change everything. Williams right now looks to be driving pretty well, holding off Curry behind.
Yeah, looking very calm in the car, taking the correct lines. Soaking up pressure is definitely one of the harder things to do behind the wheel, but once you expose yourself to that, again, you build up that confidence, and in the wet around Spa, confidence is absolutely everything. So he's doing a really, really good job here.
Okay, so currently Payne had an off, and currently the AM points gap is 20 points. But as we look at replay of what happened to Aiden Payne, it looks like just going through the com.
It looks like he's gone in a little bit hot and tried to attack the curb, but it hasn't paid off. He was very lucky not to hit a wall or to lose a whole lot of time in that situation. So he's done well to recover it by only dropping a couple of positions. Yeah, no,
he's done well to recover, but right now Williams would gain 10 points on Aiden Payne, which would not be enough for the championship. He needs to gain at least 20 points.
So it looks like Piper had a CTD. What's a CTD?
CTD.
Yeah, CTD. Piper, would you be able to explain what a CTD is for us? But it looks like a failure of some sort. Crash to desk.
Crash to desktop, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, another disconnect, which is unfortunate. Very, very pacey in that Audi. And the Audi's a pretty tough car to drive, that's for sure.
It certainly is. That is very unfortunate for you, Benny Piper. You were looking pretty good. You had that little bit of an error earlier on, but overall, you were holding your own out there. So, Curry is now all over the back. Williams has gotten a nice run through Radion. In fact, where is Curry? Curry's gone.
He's had knock. He's very slow, yellow flag. He must have had knock.
Yeah, it looks like he did, which means Aiden Payne is now only losing 5 points to Joe Williams. But either way, P8 and P9 for those two M-Class drivers is spectacular.
Do you notice any damage on that portion? I don't see.
No, I think he may have just had a little bit of a spin because it did look like he was getting a little bit loose behind Williams, but...
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have dropped off a whole lot, so it could have just been a bit of a hairy moment that he's had to pull out of, which has then compromised his straight down the Kennel Straight.
Now, I know this race only has 10 minutes to go, but in 30 minutes' time, the rain stops.
But that's just good for us because this is awesome. We're sitting in the commentary box, we're not out there, so yeah. I'm happy as we have a look at a replay. Touches the inside curb, and then the outside curb, and then the wow.
Oh, he does it pretty hard, actually.
Yeah, there'd be a bit of damage on that. The geometry of the car wouldn't be very nice. Didn't look like it was the biggest impact ever, but he would definitely have damage and he'd definitely be feeling that.
Certainly would. Aiden Payne's now picked up the paces, now it's within 6/10 of Williams. Imagine if it was the case of whoever finished ahead won the championship.
This would be one hell of a race, that's for sure. But if I was in Payne's car right now, I'd just calm myself down, make sure that we get to the line. Don't need to do anything silly. He's in a very, very comfortable spot to be able to win the championship.
Indeed. All he has to do is just hold station and make sure that he keeps within the confines of the track. He can lose a few positions if he wants to, but right now, his pace is solid enough to hold what would be a fantastic result to end off the season for both of these drivers.
Yes, both battling in the top 10 and battling toe-to-toe like they are is a very, very impressive feat.
Even more impressive feat, Joe Williams is currently the Tier 2 championship leader in the F1 series that runs on Sunday nights. So Joe Williams showing that he's got class in all forms of esports racing. Yes,
definitely a jack of all trades. Very, very impressive being able to jump from one sim to another. And
Adkins!
Oh no, as Adkins gets a drive through. He was closing it on burst 2. I was just having a look at that gap. He was within 8 seconds a couple of laps ago, so must have ran wide somewhere. Where is he on track at the moment? Yeah, looks to have ran wide coming out of Malmedy, which is where the boys have just gone through. It's Slade, Payne runs a little bit wide, but again, he just has to sit there as Pethyridge also grabs a drive-through. So that's our 5th drive-through of the race, which is a lot more than I was personally expecting.
Oh dear, that is car off in the background.
Looks like it's Kranich who's gone round. Must have touched
Kranich.
The good old AstroTurf on the outside.
Yeah. It's certainly no mean feat showing success in both F1 and ACC. I mean, I've tried to balance the two before, and typically you tend to be better in one than the other, but Joe Williams is showing that you can be great in both. Another driver we've had in OLA that has been spectacular in both was Zachary Smith, who, fairly well known amongst the Asia Pacific esports community now, but yeah, he was spectacular in both the F1 series and in the Sprint Series here.
Yeah, he's a weapon, an absolute weapon, and you know, the more sims you drive in and the more driver time you get, the better you get as well. You're able to build up your skill set, which is what we can see Williams doing right now. He's doing a really, really good job tonight. And it's just building up the skills to be able to adapt to a bunch of different situations. Again, like he's done tonight with the wet around Spa.
And he's going to move up now into P7 with Payne in P8 with Adkins there. You can just see him trundling now through that long pit lane.
Yeah,
all that hard work.
Very painful. Yeah, not knowing that you've gone down one straight and then having to turn the corner and go down another. It's very demoralising being in the driver's seat.
Going through this pit lane feels like it's 2 hours long.
Yeah, so I wish there was like an automatic pit lane thing where it would drive the car through the pit lane by itself, so you could go to the toilet, go grab a drink, do something. As we jump on board with Icarus on the back of Holmes, coming down the kennel, very close. Looks to have got a bit of a better run as Holmes has gone defensive, and it seems to hold that heading to the corner, running a little bit deep, but again having the racing line. Oh, as he gets onto the inside curb, still slipping and sliding. That Lambo is an absolute pain around here from personal experience. I'm doing that in the dry, so he's done a very good job at holding that in the wet weather and holding off Icarus, who did have a pretty decent run up the straight.
Yeah, no, that was a very shaky moment there for Holmes. But looking at the top 10, we have quite a few different names making it up. Yes, we've got the usuals of like your Rose, Gallo, Buzz, but Herod up there in P3, Tatlian doing very well, Cook as usual being very consistent, Williams and Payne, as we've already waxed lyrical about it, doing fantastic for AMCOS drivers. Chris Smithers is looking at his best result for a very, very long time there in P9 in a very unfavourable Aston Martin.
Yes, doing a wonderful job. That Aston is very difficult to drive in general, let alone around here. See Slade again make a little mistake coming through the blush mud, so having a pretty tough race. But no, Withers doing a great job in that Aston. I've never wanted to jump in that car, so all props to him for wanting to do it for the season.
Yes, Icarus now has the run on Holmes and is looking to get it done before Blanchmont and does so. So Icarus now up to P11 and is now going to try and hunt after Curry, but you don't want to be doing that too often or else you're going to get yourself a drive-through penalty, as many others have throughout the night.
Yep, as we've seen a few do. Just a little mention as well, as we see McDonald and Johnson in P13 and P16. That is the result of a drive-through. So especially around here, you lose so many positions on track, which is seen, and it's a bit of a shame because we saw them both running at a period of time in that top 5. So just cutting to Mia Rose now, she is now only about a second and a half off of her best lap time on her last lap, so she's very, very comfortable. 10-second gap to Gallo at the moment. So as we both spoke about earlier, he might have been the cork in the bottle. He did very well to hold his own. This BMW just seems to be in a class with the rest as Icarus gets a drive-through penalty.
There it is, yep.
Our 6th victim of split yellow.
It was the inevitable, but unfortunately for Icarus, it's happened.
Yeah, maybe just bending his luck just a little bit coming through Blushing.
We're getting word, sorry to cut in there, that Aiden Payne has hit the wall. He's dropped down to P10. It looks like he has a bit of damage. Oh yeah, he has a lot of damage on that Ferrari.
Oh no, there's 3 minutes left. I'm going to say after this lap, there'll be 2 laps remaining. 76 has also gone off. It was Pethy having a tough race. But yes, Payne in the wall. This could play a huge factor in the last 2.5 minutes of this race.
So currently, Williams is P7, Payne is P10. That would be a gap. That would be a 15-point gain for Williams, which still would not be enough. But if Payne drops to P11 or even P12, that could make Williams the M-Class champion to split yellow.
Well, it seems that there's about a 5-second gap to Holmes, who will be in P11. But he does have McDonald right up his backside, who we know very, very quick, who could prove to be a problem for Payne in the last 2 laps of this race.
Yeah, he's got 2 laps to hold on to it, but he looks very loose, and there is Icarus coming in. So this is what happened. Looks like he was shaping up a move on Williams, maybe. Just gets on the curb, does he? Oh, yes, he does. Oh!
That's a big hit. That's a very, very big hit. And again, he will be feeling that. I have seen him run wide a little bit at a few corners, so making sure he also doesn't get that drive through, which he might be so close to.
So, if Payne... Williams has dropped down. Williams is P8. Williams has dropped behind Withers.
So Withers has jumped up to P7, which helps Payne, and McDonald is 4.1 seconds behind Payne at the moment. That would be a pretty big gap to close, and it's not stopped there. Curry is also now applying pressure onto the back of Williams. So Payne might get a little bit lucky here, but Williams, we know, has the skill set to hold off Curry, and if another mistake does happen from Payne because of that damage, he could hold on to this championship, or gain that championship, sorry.
It is all to play for going into this final lap. The Rose is now on the final lap of this race. Wow.
Looks as though Slade got a drive through as well, so there is our 7th drive of the night.
And Icarus sped into the pit lane.
So he'll get another 10 seconds added onto that. I'm not too sure if that'll affect his position too much, but not what you want in the last couple of minutes.
Williams having to defend from Curry. Curry backs out of it. Oh my lord.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be quite something. Curry is right on the back of Williams, who seems to have, Curry seems to have a little bit more pace than Williams as well at the moment. A little bit more confidence coming through on those wet tyres, as the gap from Payne to McDonald has now closed 2.5 seconds in 2 sectors. So Payne is suffering from a lot of damage there. So McDonald, we are expecting to overtake Payne, which will again bridge that gap.
But the question is Holmes going to have enough pace to catch up as well?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I think that gap's kind of stayed similar from Payne to Holmes, but only time will tell. We'll just have to wait.
Well, there is Holmes right there.
It does look to be around 3 to 4 seconds. We will get an update on the gap now. So that's now down to 3.4. So we're expecting McDonald to overtake.
Oh, Payne. Payne's gone deep. Payne's gone very deep.
Yeah, this is not good for Payne. Not at all. So if Holmes does get him, what would that gap be?
It would be tied on points.
No way. So Payne just has to hold on for one more lap of Spa. There is only 16 more corners to go. Let's see how he goes.
Meanwhile, Mia Rose is coming around the final corner. Now, Payne is attacking here. Payne is actually attacking here. Could he potentially try and move back up ahead? Oh no, Payne has to go through!
No. He did get a drive through. He must have cut... What? He must have cut Radion.
He must have cut Radion. Aiden Payne has the drive-through, and that is going to make Joe Williams the M-Class champion for Split Yellow, provided he does not get a drive-through of his own.
Wow, what a turn of events. The last 20 minutes for Payne has been Payne. This has been a night to forget. Just as Rose comes across the line in P1, Gallo P2, and Herod, very well done to hold P3 of the race, but wow.
Oh, you just have to feel for Aiden Payne, who had got himself into such a good position, and it's all just fallen apart on this last lap.
It's just unraveled.
One lap.
With the damage he had, not surprised that he was cutting the track how he is, because the understeer that he would have from that front end contact would be out of this world.
Even then, he's put in a heck of an effort, but it is going to be Joe Williams who is going to take the AM Class Championship for Split Yellow in what was one of the fights of the season.
What an incredible drive. He couldn't have done anything more tonight to give himself a crack at this championship, and he has done it. So very, very well done to Joe Williams for winning that AM championship.
Commiserations to Aiden Payne, who will get a hefty penalty as a result. Yeah, 80 seconds. Oh.
You'll see him drop to around P14 because from 15th onwards they were lapped, but just not the way you want to go out. I'd feel so bad for him, knowing that it's come down to the last few minutes and it's just gone downhill.
That is just devastating.
But there we go. Pethy Bridge, we're just waiting on to cross the line, but that is the Yellow Championship wrapped up. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, well, what an end to the season. That was a heck of a race. Mia Rose once again showing her dominance in style. Gallo didn't quite have the pace from the day, but what a result for Herod. He had struggled all season and has come out of it on a high with a podium. So great way to end things off for Matthew Herod in the 450 Porsche.
Yeah, definitely a good way to go on the break. It's good to get a podium near the back end as we just have a look at the results now. So Mia Rose taking that final win of the season by 10 seconds over Gallo, who finished another 13 seconds in front of Herod, which started off as a very, very exciting race, but did fizzle out a little bit as Burrs did get that drive through.
Yeah, as we look now at the silver class, George Cook is your silver class champion. Bishop there, P2, and Petty Bridge there, P3. That is not your championship order, of course. As we look now at the Pro-Ams, Tatlian with the win. P4 overall for Tatlian, doing very well.
Good drive, yep.
Withers in P2, and I believe Hani Kuri is your Pro-Am champion for Split Yellow. Very well done to Hani Kuri. And then Joe Williams taking the AM Class Championship at the last with an AM win and a P8 overall. Aiden Payne agonizingly close. Then Faber rounding out your top three in the AM Class.
What an exciting race to end the Yellow Split season. It's been lots of ups and downs for a lot of the drivers, but well done to the championship winners. Very, very exciting taking that over into the next mini season and the Christmas break. Definitely might be having a beer or two if I was in that position.
Absolutely, and just seeing Aiden Payne in chat, I feel so sorry for you. You will absolutely come back better from it. You had a standout season, and I am 100% certain that you will bounce back from this and come out of it better than ever.
Yeah, definitely. It's only onwards and upwards. He'll learn from his mistakes, knows what to do for next time. He did everything right up until the last 15 minutes of that race. So moving forward, you learn from your mistakes, and I'm sure that we will see him very, very soon fighting for that championship again.
Indeed, we will. Well, that rounds it off for Split Yellow. Thank you for joining me, Ethan. We will be back in a few minutes, and we'll be back for Split Green with a new batch of commentators. I believe we've got the usual pairing of Sean Bubnell and Mitch Hobbs, if I'm not mistaken. So we will be back in a few minutes. In the minute, we will sit back.
Thanks for having me, boys. All the best.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Split Green final race for the season here at Spa. Got a lovely race ahead of us tonight. I'm joined tonight with Mr. Hobbs once again. How are you, sir?
I'm good, Mr. Bob. Now looking forward to some racing here at Spa. Dry quali to start us, so nothing too hectic as of yet.
So far, so good. I think these guys, if they saw anything from yellow, will be appreciative of the fact they do see a big, giant ball of fusion in the sky,
Yeah.
rather than just grey cloud cover and lots of moisture. But or wet race has been predicted in the chat. Look out, wet race.
Oh no, they've jinxed it. Everyone's jinxed it.
Would you like to see wet race?
Absolutely, I'd love to see that race, but of course we can't always have nice things. So my hopes aren't high.
We just need to find Bender. I'm sure he's somewhere on the track.
Yeah, Bender,
Right
can you do?
away.
Yes, exactly.
And yeah, the birdie told me earlier tonight on some number crunching stewards office that I believe the point gap between Mr. Octane and Mr. Maloney is 11 points. Only 11 points
So
separate.
it's pretty much whoever wins, depending on where is Ben Hickman going.
He just wants to drive one.
Right.
Mercedes things, Ben things.
Yeah.
But yes, there's the battle for the championship. Literally 11 points between those two drivers, as we've seen all season. The fastest laps, pole position, race wins, and all the fun stats that go with them as they go. But yeah, a bit of damage mitigation last week. Tom, as we knew that he did get unfortunately taken out at Monza, but then drove back to P4 at the end of the day.
Was, yes.
Stellar effort there.
So it was a brilliant effort at all.
The brilliant effort at all.
Overall,
yes,
English. Overall is what I meant. Ben Higgins got a pretty good lap here so far. Just an interesting little line through no name. I don't know what that was coming down the pool. It's okay. Down to the bus stop now. Just get a lap on the board, see how we play out. That's a lot of turn.
That's just a given. Mercedes is not.
Yeah, Mercedes in general, I think so. Connor Hind in McLaren's gone 2:16.4, hitting a little bit off that to 18.1, 2 in fact. Oh, Maloney's right on it too.
Yeah, I don't think Tom's going to be letting Connor out of his sight for very long. But a 2:16.4 and a 2:16.5 representative of each other,
That's insane.
Disgusting. Yeah, that's some speed right there. If you want to get a hot tip on how to do a lap, I dare say send these two boys a bit of a DM, and they'll probably tell you just drive faster.
Yeah, that's certainly common. I mean, Maloney's 2/10 up after 2 turns. Like that's actually illegal. I mean, 16.5. He would have, I dare say, for 15s if he can.
Yeah, that's definitely realm possibility there, but I mean, 3/10 up through the first lot of Lacombe there, but lose a little bit on exit. Gains actually, I'm a liar, he gains a little bit. Almost 4/10 up. That is, Tom, what are you doing? Please.
Yeah, I don't think he's holding anything back, knowing that he's behind. Of course, qualifying points could make all the difference. He get 5 points for pole, so Maloney wants to try and close that gap as much as possible. Now through no name, great run, a little tad bit down on the time, but that's okay. Down through Puon now. Let's see what this run's like. No real gain or loss. Back to where he was. Oh, maybe tiny, yeah, a little bit up. So still about just over a third of the lap to go through what I like to call Piff Baff. Yeah, another 10th there. Great runner there. Don't want to invalidate. Through to Stavilo now. Let's see what can be done. Nice use of the curb there. Getting the car rotated. There's the 5/10. Round.
On the verge of a 15 at the moment.
Oh!
That just keeps it on the track limit there. Coming up on the 6/10 gain on the lap at the moment. Just needs a couple more hundreds and we'll see it. But, I mean, this is definitely on point for that 15.9 at the moment. But see what happens as he comes into bus stop, as Connor is also on a bit of a smoking lap as well.
Yes, good luck from both.
Connor does not dip
no
15s, but there's a 16.1, whereas Tom looks a little bit more speedy at the moment. Lost a bit on the exit, and he's also a 16.1, but a difference of 100. between these
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, he just lost it a bit in the bus stop there, did Maloney. I saw just out of the corner of my eye, I reckon he was about 6.5 tenths up, and he came across about 4.8 tenths up over the line. So still all to play for here in that final sector. I think that Pepe business emote gives a pretty good idea.
It does, and just a bit of inside information there is in the chat. John has confirmed Tom was doing 15s in practice. So definitely keep an eye on that leaderboard because it probably will drop slightly as the rest of the session ticks out and the track gets a bit more rubbered up and all that kind of jizz. But yeah, look, those boys definitely not leaving anything left to spare considering this is the final round of the season and what a season it has been.
Yeah, a great season has been these two fighting for the championship. What a run there from Hind. Just couldn't quite get the exit of No Name. It's a real tricky one, especially with the curb there. Down through Puon now. That looked fast. But just went probably a tad wide for what he liked. Couldn't quite get the apex in there. Down to Piff Paff now. See what can be done. Needs to get hard on the brakes. Keep it in third. Just hold the traction control nicely. Doesn't want to bog the car. There you go. There's the time gain. So there was a bit of a loss on his lap through there.
Lose a
Just
bit on
couldn't
exit though.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a tough one to tell with these laps. Oh, a lot of the curb. That's a slide.
That's a
There's the
loss.
time gone. Yeah.
And that lap can say see you later, unfortunately. It is easily done. And we have seem to be frozen. Oh no, we're back.
It froze. The game did not want to play ball there. Brian Kong at the moment, just coming through Piff Puff. Only sat in fourth and P1 in Pro-Am. That's a great effort from him. Only just under 9 tenths off the lead.
That is a stonking lap too, though. That's only 217 dead, yeah. That's just his time rather than trying to work out the math on the little leaderboard down the bottom. That would have been the smarter thing to do, but that's not long into the broadcast that I've done a big, massive boo-boo, but that's fine. I'm sure there's many more coming in the rest of this evening, but I dare say after this final round, obviously, a fair few of these drivers will get that little nudge up in class, and Kong might be definitely one of those candidates, considering the speed that he is.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be very exciting to see next season who is where in terms of cars, who's in what class. You might see some brand new fights come up in the season. You never know. So see drivers coming into the pits, getting the fuel in, quickly getting back out. They'll probably only get 2 laps in now, so 1 colder flying lap and 1 on point warm flying lap. Luke Johnson currently sat P3 there. Was looking to be trying to get up into the top 2. It's going to be quite difficult though. Needs 4 tenths to do so. Here's Maloney matching Delta at the moment, almost dead even, just slightly leaning into the red. That's okay.
The Delta always lies.
The Delta does lie a little bit at Spa and a couple of other tracks, so I believe it too much. And unfortunately, when it's just in the red, it usually means you're a little bit further into the red. And same with this case, you're going to be probably about half a tenth into the red here, because that's just how the Delta goes.
Yeah, I've tried to never really rely too much on Delta when trying to get some kind of speed out of a lap of the car and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, when you are on that flickering green, red, grey sort of, you know
you don't want to be there.
You don't want to be there.
No, you don't.
No,
he's down.
He is down to a 10th. I think he got a little bit caught up through No Name there. But that's alright. Through Dawn here. Looks quite nice and smooth. Didn't really gain any time, but slightly wide on exit. But other than that, I still think he's got one more real good flyer in him, so we'll soon see what happens. But at the moment, still holding Connor off with that 100th of a second faster lap at the moment. But Johnson, I dare say, with only being 4 tenths behind, will definitely be getting a little bit of a nudge up into the pro class because he has been absolutely dominant in the silver class, and with being consistently up in like the top 5, top 7 sort of range over the last few races, I dare say a little cheeky DM's coming his way.
Yeah, absolutely. You'll see some promotions and some actual promotions in the next time. So you can do next season, Bub, now?
Not sure as of yet, as I'm trying to work out some
not good
surgery
enough.
stuff, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. If I can get behind the wheel, then I will. But juggling a little bit at the moment. But I think I might just stay in the steward's box and the comms office and see how things go.
Oh, look at this time here from Hind. Oh, lost it all on exit of Lecom, though. Down towards Bruxelles now. Let's see what can be done. Just keeps it nice and tight. Was almost 2/10 up coming out of Lecom. Couldn't get much done through No Name now. He did hit a tad bit of the curb on the last time he did this, and he's done it again. Still not quite up on the time. Oh, a bit of a bump there. Let's go down towards Puon now. Oh, early turn in. He's sliding it through there just to get the time out. That's probably lost him a little bit away from the apex. Just gets on the exit, pulls it up nicely through Piff Paff now. I mean, there's only 1.5 hundredths between these two, so there's got to be something that gives here. Flickering
Well, there you
delta,
go.
that's the
There's
last thing.
time.
There's the time, and he's
Oh,
sliding
the
it
slide.
invalid. Yep.
And game over. That is the hardest thing to do. Obviously, you know you've got the capability of going fast. As we see, Tom's slightly up, just on a 10th up at the moment, coming to No Name. But when you are literally trying to find that half a hundred, or half a tenth here against someone as a strong competitor as what for him to see, you are literally on a knife's edge the entire lap. But Tom at the moment, 3 tenths up, absolutely nails. A little bit lost in the exit, a bit narrow from line like. But
Yeah.
through what they call campers, what do you call them? Or Piff Pat.
Yeah, Piff Paff.
Not bad. I like the flow of the work, but still gains time there.
Yeah, I think he compromised it a lot through Puon. He went down to third, and I probably wouldn't have thought it's the way to do it. It's going to be a bit over-slowed on the exit. Probably under the rotation, yeah, and it's compromising through Piff Paff Stavilo, so he's going to have one more lap up his sleeve. And it's going to be all or nothing. TC Bureau, yeah. There are reasons behind that. It's to do with power delivery with traction control on. For some reason, in the McLaren, you do that.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Being a Ferrari driver, I don't understand that, but yeah.
I was concerned that if there was a thing, then guys know what I do, because if it was me driving the car, that's death. No,
Oh yeah, no, it's
I'd
wow, 3/10 up at the moment. Holy moly, this could be a cracker if he puts this one in. Through Bruxelles, use a lot of the curb to get the rotation. 3.5 tenths up. Almost 4 tenths down to No Name. 3 tenths still. He's absolutely sending this. Keeps it within track limits. This could be an absolutely cracking lap. Down to Puon now. I'm getting excited, Bub. Now I'm getting excited.
Yeah, just calm down. We're losing
Yeah,
a
we're
little
calm.
bit through the entry.
Ooh, yeah, looking good.
Bit on the exit.
Oh,
This
if he
is
can just
where
keep it calm through Piff Paff. Oh.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is where he cooked it last time on the exit of Piff Paff. So far, so good. Still holding 3 tenths, almost 4 tenths up at the moment. Holding a nice tight line. Let's see what the exit's like, because that's what cost him dearly last time. This looks much more stable.
It's there.
It's there. Still 3 tenths up. Not long to go. What about 4 corners to go if you can count some of these?
Oh, he slid again.
Still manages to keep 3 tenths at the moment. Slight loss on exit. Looking still good. This will be for pole. We're not sure how Tom's traveling at the moment, but just on 2.5 tenths up at the moment. We'll see what happens coming up into the bus stop here. One of the, more for me, it's probably one of the most hard braking zones to figure out.
Oh, yeah.
But if you nail it, you'll love to feel it. But if you don't, well, then it can all go to...
Oh, he's nailed it. That was beautiful. Can he nail the exit enough to get pole? I reckon he cooked the exit. But is it going to be 15? No, but it's pole.
Enough by 10. Tom needs to keep his go with it at the moment. He has. He's fine at 10.
No, screwed it up. Yep. That'll be it. I reckon unless he did screw up. Yeah, there's the 10. Yeah.
He's fine 2 tenths between here and bus stop.
Well, I reckon he's got a 10th in the bus stop.
It's possible. And now he needs to find 3 tenths between here and bus stop. He is a 10th down, right? But let's see how much of an entry speech and performance is so far. That's alright.
No, yeah, he just sent it knowing he had to find the time and he just couldn't do it. So,
unlucky.
Hind on pole, that was a cracking lap. Exactly 1/10 ahead of Maloney, who's 2 tenths ahead of Johnson. That was a good improvement from him. Kong a little bit further back. Great performance from him, leading the Pro-Am car class. And you got Smith and Barker as well in there. Babsy's not too far behind as well. So some pretty close times over on the CM class driver there. Actually, that's Usman, I believe, in P9. So that's a great lap from them.
But in the big weight class, I guess you could say that Connor's thrown the first punch, and that was a little bit of maybe a bit of a blow to Tom there in terms of just raw one-lap pace. But as we know, Hobbsy, that the one-lap pace does not give you the potential over a race distance. So at the moment, here we are going for strategy. Obviously, we've got a bit of a stop tonight as well in the race, which is going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works. As we see here, Smith still holding a little bit of time to gain. Does he get P4 off Kong? He does not. It was close though. So just on a 10. But some stellar laps there. Yusman leading the AM class, sitting in P9 there at the moment for that. That's quite nice. Johnson obviously leading silver. Kong leading Pro-Am, and Connor obviously dealing that first blow to Tom in the Pro class there. So just going to wait for this session timer to tick out now as all the drivers set up their strategies for the evening. With a 1 pit stop and a 1 hour race ahead. What would your call be if you were sitting as P2 at Tom Maloney in the championship right now, Mr. Hobbs?
Well, 1 pit stop, you just try and make Hind use the tyres, but interestingly to note from those standings earlier, Connor has 15 points worth of fastest laps. 5 fastest laps to him. Tom only has 3 points, so 1 fastest lap his way. This is a battle of race pace, which it is, and strategy. If you go strategy, you go Maloney. If you go pace, you go Hind. Where do you go?
Yeah, fair enough. Just got a cheeky DM then for our hamsters in the background. Apparently, when we're in car cam, we're a bit quiet for the stream, so we'll try and figure that sound
that's not nice.
out for you guys. So we're a bit.
I just blame ACC.
Yeah, it could just be an ACC Krinos feature, but there is a bit of background noise going on there, so we'll try and figure that out for you guys as soon as we can. We'll get the hamsters back on their wheels, and hopefully they can sort it out momentarily. But yeah, I think obviously he will want to try and get a jump on Connor early on, and then hopefully, as I said, if he can't get the jump, put the pressure on, but he'll want to get ahead ASAP. From that point on, it's a matter of who flinches first, really, I think, because they're both incredible over a race distance, as we've seen throughout the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for both drivers, because if Maloney gets a jump, I know that Connor's not going to want to give in that lead coming up to Eau Rouge, because of course the start of the race is actually taken here where the cars are set up, whereas obviously the start-finish line is just out of bus stop. So if Maloney's going to get the jump, he needs to get a bloody good one, because you don't want to go too wide up Eau Rouge. I can tell you that for a fact, because that's not going to end well.
No, that has always been known to end in tears. As we get one final pass down the grid for the season for AP Green. Looking quite spiffy as always. Been some top liveries throughout the season. Actually didn't mind that one there to the right hand side. There's the Bunnings snag, as always. Have always been a hot topic for the season, that one. But yeah, once again, big shout out to all those that do deliveries. For some drivers like myself who are not skilled enough to do one, or have not got the capability nor time or patience, so making their cars looking absolutely sensational on the track all season. And that is the last time we get to see that grid in that order.
Yeah, that will be it. We'll see a new set of new grid of drivers next year in Sprint Series and Sprint Green, or overall splits. See drivers in new cars. You might see new drivers, which will be more than welcome. New drivers into OOR, welcome them with open arms, and we'll just see some new drivers next year for the new series of Sprint in Season 15. Cannot wait to see how that one plays out.
What car are you going to be, Tom? Come on, inside information, come on.
Wow, I don't know, because you don't know what updates are going to happen between them, but I must say, without looking at the track list, I do have my eyes on the Merc.
Ooh, interesting. I'm going to be in a car that is probably super easy to drive, because I don't have time if I can make it. So
yeah, so the McLaren.
One.
Yeah.
Well, look, yeah, okay, look, it might be McLaren if I decide to go that path, but we'll see how it goes. But going through the field here, Johnson, usual suspect up the front here. Obviously, we're having a bit of a trio, or what's a bit frozen on our end. I've gone back again, but McLaren seem to be the obvious choice, so to speak, at the moment, especially in this field. Not necessarily from the background, but I don't know how good the BOP is in regards to McLaren here. You might have a bit more better insight than myself. But looking forward to what these guys are going to put on show in about the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, I'd really rather have you wouldn't mention BOP and McLaren at Spa.
I've heard it's busted, yes, confirmed.
Yeah, it's less busted than it used to be, but it's still pretty busted. Of course, the good thing is, though, is that there are leagues, in particular low field motorsports, that are looking to and have implemented at BOP based on hot lap data. So a couple of leagues, OOR's doing it, of course, the upcoming 12 hours Misano and 24 hours of Spa. So that might look to be implemented for the next Sprint Series season as well. So good to see that trying to make it as even as possible for drivers who may be in a worse car in comparison to one. So I cannot wait to see how that goes. Of course, we've got one race ahead here at Budman.
Indeed. I like that in chat there, a field of boomerangs. Obviously the McLaren with a boomerang tag there, so I'll shout to that one. That's not bad. That tickled my dad's spot a little bit. So that's the shout I'm going for a field of McLarens now, is the boomerang. Claiming it. Anyone else wants to get on board with that? Royalties is going to be sent to OOR for good funding and further races and all that kind of jazz. As we're coming up to bus stop and about to go green, as we see the entire field come into that double file and closing up the gaps to 1 to 2 car lengths. And you got just a couple more corners here, but obviously, as we know, this is the F1 starting position and not the GT3 starting position, which was changed a few implementations of the game ago. I think it was back in 1.7, if I'm not mistaken. It could have been a little bit earlier than that. But yes, we have a long trundle through what is turn 1, which is after this. So obviously, the pit time here is quite extensive as well, because you've got to do the entire length. But I'm going to take this one, Hobbsy. I've cursed you enough over the over time for race
fun with
time.
that.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, what can go wrong at Spa on a 1 hour race for AP Green, last race for the season. Too wide, coming down the main straight, well, not the main straight here, but coming into the green flag, and we are green as we get. Oh, Tom looks like he had a massive launch compared to Connor there. So we come in there, going to go too wide. They do leave enough room to go too wide. Connor mounts the curve a little bit, but Tom does look like he is nudging ahead, which he is. He actually got a nice drive and actually did manage to launch out in front. Connor actually looks like he's getting a bit swamped by Johnson as well. He's taking inside, coming in to the first chicane here. Connor looks like he's actually still got him at bay. The McLarens have just left the field for dead though. Coming through the combs here, looks quite nice, a bit wide there for the car. Well, then there was Con, as we see a Ferrari come up, Barker behind him, but Tom at the moment definitely taking that second jab and got the outright pace off the line. Connor sort of almost left like he was asleep at the start. Maybe just wasn't quite sure about where that green line was going to go at the start here, but so far so good. Everyone on track. No flags going off in the background. No yellow. This is what we like to see, Hobbsy.
Yeah, absolutely. Maloney just caught Hines napping there. I don't know if Connor knew what day it was there for a minute on that start. And he's also gone wide at no-name, so that's going to be a warning coming his way. It's another thing we've got to look out here is for those track limit warnings and drive-throughs. We did see a few, of course, in the wet in split yellow, but it is dry so far here and probably will be dry for the whole race looking at the weather. So certainly one for the drivers to look out for. Just keep it in those track limits, don't go too wide, and if so you might just need to back off a little bit. And coming down towards Blanchimont, Maloney's already pulled out a half a second gap to Hind, who's got a half second gap to Johnson. Barker did get through on Kong after Kong started to go a bit deeper through that little S bend of Le Com. Down to the bus stop they come now. Nice use of the brakes. Pulls it up absolutely perfectly. Johnson not so right on the braking point there. That's okay. Yeah.
That's the Bubnow line.
That's, yeah, we can go with that's the Bubnow line if you feel that's what you do. And there is the start-finish line, which I don't know why They decided to make them start down here. I remember when we used to start on that first little straight there, and I think I understand why, because it was a disaster.
I was going to say, it's a slow entry into it's a fast entry into turn 1, which is a slow corner, and then it just bred chaos. So that's probably why they thought the Eau Rouge section was probably a bit better, so that there wasn't so much.
I don't know if I'd call it better.
Well, look, they've done well here in green. I mean, they do fine.
This is an outlier. Usually you see complete and utter death up Eau Rouge on any race start here. I guess really the way you look at it is, do you want to die at turn 1, or do you want to at least get through a corner and then die?
Well, I mean, we always want to at least get a little bit of the race before, you know, the inevitable Noski into a wall scenario, but, you know, that's a story for another day. As we are on board here for the story that everyone's going to be watching at the moment, even though I believe there was an 11-point gap at the season between Connor and Maloney, but I don't think I'm not sure what the point difference is from P1 to P2. Is that enough for Connor?
I believe it is. I think it's 15. I'll just double check.
Oh yeah, there we go. We are checking. We're going to see that if Tom does maintain this at the moment, does he actually jump back in front of Connor for the championship?
Yes, it's a 20-point gap.
There you go. So then that will be, even if though Connor did get the high quali, that will be at the moment Tom jumping back in for the overall championship win. But then obviously you've got fastest lap to count for as well at some point within the race. But this is,
if you look at the quali points, it's 5 points for P1, 4 for P2. So it's technically a 12-point gap between the drivers now. If there's a fastest lap goes to Connor per se, it's 3 points. So that gives it 15 points between them.
So technically, if he gets the fastest lap at the moment, he'll be 5 points behind Tom at this stage. As Tom goes, I'm just going to do 2:16.7, thanks.
Yeah, sure, that's a pretty good lap.
That is faster than I'll probably never go in my life, but that's fine. As we look at, oh no, apparently we have a dead Babsy somewhere in the field, according to chat.
Okay, I did see Babs pit. I didn't understand why. That might make sense.
There might be a replay of something later on that looked very interesting there, but I kind of looked like a lot of curve on the inside. I know you have to cut it like that, but it may have been slightly too much, so he might be on a couple cuts at the moment. That is only speculation, because obviously that we can't see the camera angles, and nor are we getting the warnings that the drivers do. And we are at the pit window. It says 50 minutes remaining. We know we got 55 minutes on the board. But yeah, when do you now, if you're Connor, when you see Tom dive into the pits, do you go out for another lap, or do you try and pull the trigger first and go in before Tom? I mean, where will you be sitting right now?
Yeah, I guess they don't know what their strategy is between them. So Connor doesn't know what Tom's going to do, and Tom doesn't know what Connor's going to do. If one of them tries to throw the other off and pits early, say in 10 minutes time, and say Tom pits in 10 minutes time, and Connor has the fuel to go half an hour, to half an hour.
That's life will come to him then.
That's exactly right. But of course Maloney will get the extra, maybe gain, but the other problem there is he's going to be on heavier fuel, so his lap times will realistically be slower. So you want to go probably as long as you can, but only to a certain point. It's a very small gap, and if, say, Maloney pits it in 20 minutes, I would at least go 2 laps longer if I'm Connor, who hasn't pitted, just to at least have that offset.
Yeah, it's a fair shout. I dare say, knowing the strategy team of Kovacs that would be helping Tom at the moment, they've probably got, well, there you go, 16.6. Whatever you can do, Tom, I can do better, says Connor. But I know the Kovacs team strategy have been relatively on point. I mean, we were worried last week about how... oh dear. That's not ideal. Here we go, a replay
so he's
of
Bab.
Abzi.
He's just flipped his nose. Oh, that's not... Oh, there's more. What's going on? So that's Bab. Let's have a look. Down to Puon now. Does he... Is this Victor Cook?
Oh, another second slide,
Bit of a
and
slide
oh dear.
and dead. Yep.
Oh no, there's
Yep.
still more
Yeah.
pretty close.
No.
Oh,
No.
right there. Oh no. Oh,
Oh dear. There's Victor Cook. That's where
that
the
is
penalties come from.
that is unfortunate for Mr. Babs, which is
That return to garage.
yeah,
Yep.
unfortunately done. As we see him he is in chat now, so he is well and truly not partaking in this race. Sorry to Babsy for the death and all that, but these things happen to the best of us. But yeah, just a note for those that there's dangerous conditions or dangerous driving. If you do see yellow, we do sort of be a bit harsh in terms of your avoidance skills, so that's why the penalty has been dished out in that regard. But on board here with Connor here, just still ticking over with a second behind Tom. Not a
Yeah.
horrible gap to have, but maybe that could be also Australia. Maybe he's just going to say, oh, I'm just going to sit here enough just to see what you're capable of in terms of race pace and where you're strong. We've always
Oh, that's not
like
so good for the race
wheel.
pace.
No.
I mean, he's probably not so concerned about the 1 second gap that he's guaranteed to have over the line. He's probably concerned about the 5 second gap he has to the lead of the championship at the moment.
You mean 5 point, not 5 second, but that's fine. We know.
Oh, did I say 5 second?
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 points, what I meant.
Hey, look, it's alright. We're allowed to be excited and get confused. That's what we do here.
Yes, exactly. So Connor needs to pull something out of the bag here if he's going to want to decrease that 5 point gap. I think Maloney's probably not doing the maths in his head, but if any of you straight, well, there you go, make that 8 point gap, sir.
Yeah, so these guys are going tit for tat here. I go faster? No, I'll go faster. No, I'll go faster. This is what I can do. I mean, these are all times that are absolutely blistering pace, even for quali laps. This is race laps for these guys at the moment, so that is insane by itself. But even when he did dip that wheel off in, I think that's Tablet, that corner, he only ended up losing about 2/10, 3/10
Yeah.
sometimes, so I didn't actually lose that much out. So this gap isn't going to be that big of a problem for Connor at the moment. But it would definitely want to try and at least dip the nose up a little bit closer at the moment than being just over a second. But won't want to sort of get out of the mirrors of Maloney, because if Tom sees a bit of space, I think he's just going to say, see you later, bye.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to have to be something pulled out of the hat here from Connor, but even if he just keeps there with Tom, maybe that's going to be enough pressure for Tom to make a mistake. I don't know what either of these drivers are really like with pressure. So
I can
that will be
confirm
shown here.
Tom
Yep.
is very good with pressure, because he had to put up with me for the Nürburgring Enduro. He's very happy with just like punching out consistent laps within a couple of tenths, regardless of who's around him, to be honest. So Connor's going to pull an extra few stops out, I do believe, in my opinion. But maybe the whole thought of championship could be a bit of the weight on the shoulders, so to speak. But I mean, we'll know more as the race ticks over. We are only 10 minutes in after all. But yeah, at the moment the top pick would be Maloney's just going to walk away a little bit here, but Connor has closed that gap up just to 8 tenths as well. I think Tom had a bit of a moment going through pit back there.
Yeah, absolutely. The car's looking a little bit slidey, even just through Blanchimont there. You can see it. Maybe it's just a little bit floaty for the liking of Maloney. It's probably not the thing that Maloney wants in his car right now. That's definitely what Connor's looking for, though. He wants to see Maloney making those mistakes. Cracking lap though from Connor. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what we're expecting to see. So now it's back to that 5 point gap between these two. So the only way that Connor can have this is getting past.
Yeah, just to give you a heads up, that was only 300ths faster than Tom's fastest lap as well. So they're not like they're gapping each other lap for lap by a lot. It's just by the fractions of margin. So these two are definitely well and truly on point. So definitely be lots of screen time for these two tonight, I do believe, considering how close they are in the championship and what they are presenting for us on track. But obviously, we're just going to give a big shout out as well down the field there. Johnson's still holding P3 in a silver class at the moment. Colm holding P5 in the Pro-Am class. And Usman has moved his way up to P9. I think he did start at P10 if I'm not mistaken. So that's our leading average.
P9.
Oh, well then he's holding position, which is just as good as a feat as any other one. But that's your leaders in class at the moment, the current stage, almost 25% into the race done. I dare say within the next 5 or 10 minutes we'll start to see the first of the pit stoppers taking in. Some will be going for that alternate strat, but obviously if it was me I'd be going for more that half distance pace. But see, everyone has their own benefits to their thought process as we're on board here with Cicluna in the Bunnings livery. Gotta love it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't not love that livery. And he's getting a bit harassed though by Jed Coleman, who, I'm going to be honest, I was not expecting to be down where he is at the moment.
Normally Luca is well and truly up at the donkey end of the field, so seeing him back this far, I mean, I don't know how good Bez is here. I haven't done that much time in the seat lately, so I'm not one to sort of have a valid opinion on the subject, but as a general across the board, Luca is very speedy. So being this far down, a bit out of the ordinary thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit concerned for the Ferrari drivers, because having some inside knowledge, I know that thing is potentially deadly up over Rouge, and I don't like the thought of that for the drivers. So, and it's certainly up there in terms of pace, but it's extremely hard to extract here for some reason. So maybe that's why Luke's a little bit further down than what we'd usually expect, but he's certainly piling the pressure on Cicluna, I can tell you that.
I don't think I'd like to be Cicluna at this point in time, knowing that Luca is behind me. But as Babsy may point out, could have got a bit of a bad quali session. Oh, as Luca almost ended up in the rear of that Porsche there of Cicluna, that would have definitely gave Cicluna a bit of a heart attack, and as we like to call it, a bit of a brown flag moment. But at the moment, holding positions for P10. This is the battle going back up Radio Rouge here. That's a lot of inside curb, and the ball.
Oh my goodness.
That was well done. I'm not going to lie, I'm quite happy you managed to keep that car under control when it was almost projectile missile into the wall.
Yes, I was a bit concerned there, I will be honest.
Yeah, still did more better than I was going to ever achieve, and my words have gone out the window as well. More better, yes, that's a combination for tonight.
Yeah, that's English.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely something.
Absolutely. So, Coleman up into the top 10 for the first time in this race. Let's have a look at that again on the replay. Too much curb, just simply too much curb. Hit the dirt, and just gone for a bit of a slide there up Eau Rouge as Wirrawan gets a drive through for an unsafe rejoin on that one. Oh goodness, that's not really something you want to see pop up from race control there.
No, I don't think you ever want to see any kind of pens, but especially here a drive through that is wide.
Ooh, here comes the penalties, everybody.
15 second gets dished out as well, so we've seen a bit of a DT. We've seen 15 seconds, we've seen unsafe rejoins, we've seen dangerous driving, split green bringing out all the stops, so if everyone's got those ticked off on their bingo sheets, you're looking well for getting your bingo tonight. We've got 44 minutes, or just over 44 minutes remaining in this race, so I'm sure you'll get a few more ticked off if it goes as it seems at this stage. But at the moment, Luca has got a bit more speed on Cicluna here. He's definitely pulled out that gap, so it was much faster than as we go. This is the time we're on board here with Maloney. What's going on here? This is not a replay. Disregard, this is not a replay. I saw
we're just taking the piss here in the box, although I do have some interesting information for you. We just saw the drive-through pop up for Wirrawan. A drive-through is 57 seconds here.
Yeah, that's sort of saying that's quite an extensive pattern.
It is, and a pit stop for tyres is 92 seconds.
Ouch. But as you can see here, the gap has definitely increased. So Connor has had a moment as someone...
Another moment.
There's another moment. Because his last lap was a 17.8.
Ooh, yeah, that's a big loss for him. That's 1.1 off probably what he wants to be at. So big loss there for him. That would have just around a second off Maloney. Still has fastest lap though, so we're back to a 5-point gap in the championship in favour of Maloney. But of course, one pit stop can change everything.
Yeah, and if as a little insider information here, if Tom has learned anything from the Kovac's pit strat synergy, God, I'm doing well tonight. Basically, we don't know how to do pit stops at Kovac's. The amount of times we have managed to colossally screw it over in every way, shape, or form. I mean, let's hopefully he doesn't take a page out of the book of the Kovac pit stops, and we'll actually able to keep it on point. Otherwise, that's going to help Connor quite immensely.
Yeah, well, let's hope that he's done his pit stop practice. He's still got a few minutes to think about his strategy. As you see, Power has jumped into the pits, so a couple of drivers maybe contemplating jumping into the pits. I thought Hind actually had me there for a minute. I thought he was about to jump in.
Hey, they're not trade secrets if I can't perfect them and then condition them out to everyone. That's what we do. And it's one brain between like about 20 blokes in Kovac, so it's fine. No one knows what we're doing. It's okay. But Connor was much faster than Tom on that one. Dropped out 3/10 on him. Had a nice little bite into that time gap there. So must have just had a bit of an oops, but obviously back on point. So definitely try and close that gap up once again. But that could be that Tom might even be. That looked bad.
That looked a little bit on the limit there. If anyone has any inside knowledge on how many warnings each driver has, that'd be great. But
Okay,
certainly...
so Babsy, warnings for Tom, please. I don't know if someone's got Connor's insight there, but I know we can get Tom's.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hind has brought that one back in to 1.6. Oh, and that's Victor Cook there, just letting the drivers buy off that early drive-through penalty for lightly kissing Michael Bowen.
Yes. And both are correct in chat there, if you reverse how you say it. So Tom has 0 warning, but 4 remaining. So there you go.
Yeah, great. Sure, that works. But what I find disgusting is that at least that Victor Cook didn't take Michael Babb out for dinner first before that collision.
Well, maybe you'll have to take him out to a few dinners afterwards now.
He might have to.
Back on board with Connor at the moment. Still chasing down the back end of Maloney's gingerbread car.
I'd want to chase gingerbread too.
I mean, I would too, but they're not going to end up in the hospital, but that's beside the point. Too much sugar in gingerbread for me. So,
well, make sugar-free gingerbread, there you go.
Well, there you go, that could work.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely know you're a bit of a cheat date there, Babs. It doesn't take much to get you
Babsies.
outside. As we're on board here with Tom, doing well at the moment.
Ooh, bit deep.
Bit deep, but doesn't do too bad. Connor seems to follow a similar line there, so it's not going to be the worst thing for him. They both get really decent by the look of it there. But just maintaining this 1.5 to 2 second gap at the moment has led this from the starting gun, so to speak. And at the moment, I think he's sitting quite happy and be very pretty. Yes, and I have done that in reverse with his potential of getting the championship win done here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Originally does have this on the bag. That's a bit... Oh, I reckon that could be a warning. 23 degrees on the ambient temps at the moment. 31 on track. So around the sort of temps you'd see on a hot lap server per se. But some drivers will be hot lapping. They'll just be trying to keep consistent, which of course is most important.
I dare say they're still going to be hot lapping the way they're racing.
They'll be going maybe when the pit stops happen. A bit wide there from Connor, but that's okay. He's brought that gap down very nicely just over the laps. Only maybe a couple of hundredths per lap, but of course that can make all the difference if Tom screws up the pit stop, or maybe loses half a second or something like that. It can make all the difference, and we've just got to see who blinks first in this case.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think as we see, Usman was running in P9. I did see something flash up on the track map there. I believe he did have a big unsettling through Eau Rouge, potentially up the top of the hill there, and has dropped from P9 all the way down to P15. I dare say the car, judging by the little dot how it was sitting there for a while, will have some extensive damage, but hopefully he can get back on board and progress away back up the field. Hopefully it's not too bad. I mean, this is the time now to come into the pits and repair and do all your thing if you need to do it, because you know, you're almost at the halfway point, so it's not going to be the end of the world. We might get a bit of a replay on that as we progress through the race, but I just saw the glimpse of it. So a bit of a shadowed moment there for Usman leading the amateur class. He's now sitting in P3 in amateur class.
Yeah, not the best day at the office there so far for Usman, but of course Semolina ahead does have that 15-second penalty, and Usman is only 2/10 behind. Costa's had a moment. Just saw maybe there was a bit of a fight there. Here's Usman up Eau Rouge. That is Giacomin just behind. Too much curb, and Giacomin's pants are brown.
Very much so, and Usman did clip that wall there, so that's going to have a little bit of damage. It's going to spend a little bit of time in the pits there repairing that, because I don't think that McLaren is going to be driving too fantastic after clipping that wall of the pit exit there, but we've done that. I've done that too many times to count, to be honest. So welcome to the club there, Usman, if you've never done that before, but I dare say with any driver that's been around this track trying to punch out those lap times has met that wall many times.
Absolutely. A quick PSA there. That's not how you should do a rejoin. Just going to put it out there. Came straight across the track. No cars, so I guess it's okay. And another PSA, Mike Crick has a drive-through.
Oh dear, that would probably be for track limits.
Track limits, yeah.
And as you said before, was it 57-second transverse time?
Yeah.
It feels like an eternity when you're in these cars, especially that 50k an hour pit limit speed. So not only does he have to do it once mandatory, which is what, 92 seconds I think he said, or something along those times, but then
yeah, 92 seconds.
A minute trundle through the pits there. So we've got a nice little battle group here. Ben going extremely wide there and cutting back across the nose there. Luca just tacking on the back here. This is the battle for P7. Good to see that these three are up there again. So Ben didn't have the best result last week. Hopefully he has force feedback this week.
Yeah.
Because he was doing all kinds of pirouettes and 360s and all that at Monza. So here we are here looking much more stable, much more under control, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, most important. Now, if you're Giacomin here, you pit.
Yeah, get out of the
Vintiner. One of the two. One of them I would be pitting. Get out of the traffic. I reckon if you're Giacomin and you don't see Vintiner going to the pits now, you jump in. That's what I would be doing, because Vintiner is probably the leading factor here. I just saw yellow flags pop up somewhere. I'm not too sure where we've got that one.
And that was into the
Bruxelles, that's okay. Or if Hignett pits here, hang on, Giacomin might look to the outside here. Ooh, gonna sneak the nose in. Oh, that scares me. Oh, bit of a tap there.
Bit of a push.
Oh, it's still side by side. Only a little bit of a kiss there. No date required this time, but Hignett's loving life, knowing that they're going to fight. I mean, if Giacomin can get past here, this is Vintiner needs to pit, I reckon.
Yeah, Giacomin will get the move done there, but I dare say a sneaky suspicion that that will be investigated. I'm not sure. If I was Luca at this point, I might be inclined just to yield the position back, just in case there is that potential of a bump pass going on, but obviously we don't have all the camera angles and the stewards do. Oh, there's a dead car there.
That's Barker.
That is definitely not a parking space. Would not recommend parking there as your cars are coming up over a rouge there at quite excessive speeds. But at the moment, Giacomin definitely has the speed on this side. Oh my god! Almost missile locked onto the rear diffuser there of Giacomin. That would have been more brown pants moments.
Some brown pants here. Giacomin sticking the nose out on Hignett. Hignett can just stick this one out. Oh dear, out of position lap one, Usman. So the stewards doing their job, studying lap one, just seeing what's going on. Not a good day in the office for Usman. Having had a bit of a moment and getting penalised. Was leading the M class. That's now Mr. Greco. Through Pouon. These two go. What can Giacomin do here? He can pit, whether he will. It's a tough one, but we can see on the Delta as well. Connor Hines on the back of Maloney. There's also two battles going on here. If you're Connor Hines, do you pit now knowing that you're this close, you can get on pace? I probably would.
He's only 3/10 behind Maloney at the moment, so it could be a case of, you know, I make the first move, but they're coming up to the pit entry as we speak now, so we'll soon see if someone does duck in. But Luca definitely seeing on pace here. Seems a bit out of position, so to speak, with his speed in that Fez at the moment. I dare say he will try and do that inside move into the bus stop here on Ben as he goes, maybe for potentially, he's going to be on the outside. Oh, as Ben does a massive power slide, and that Mercedes, I was going to say McLaren there, is dead but still drivable. He just had a big loss of washout there. I think maybe tapped the brakes in the turning, but unfortunate. But Luca takes the position there, and so does Vinton and a few other drivers in the background. And you see someone dive in the pits in the rear there, but at the moment,
It
Tom
wouldn't
is
shock me
fine.
if it was Hignett.
Yeah, well, I dare say he'll be going in for a new set of rubber after that big power slide through the Blanchimont area.
So let's have a look. This is Barker. This is what I was worried about. Oh, just hit too much curb. Seen a couple of drivers do that, and that's Kong. That was close. Well done for Barker for keeping that one out of the wall. So I was a bit worried for the Ferrari state there. And another one for good measure. Great. Oh my goodness, Jed Cummings was probably crapping himself here. And he's almost reversed into a Porsche, Mercedes, whatever that is. I think it's a Porsche. That is tough one to take there for Barker. Just too much curb. That is more than likely for any person to make a mistake like that. So I dare say he jumps through the pits and has after a few laps. We're checking out how those tyres were. So Jed Coman now had stuck the nose in. I don't really think there was much that Hignett could have done there. I reckon that Merc just went with the setup, to be honest, with the way that it looked.
It just looked like it wanted to exit stage left. I mean, I know it exit stage right, but you know what I'm saying. I think it just literally decided I no longer want to be a race car at this point in time, and just said see you later. But at the moment, Luca doing well up to P6. Not sure where he started, but I mean we did see him battling for P10 there at one stage, so definitely working his way up the grid. Next one on board is Smith, who's not far up the road at the moment. Oh, actually, he's probably a little bit far up the road because I think that's Victor Cook just ahead of Luca at the moment.
It is.
That's
blue flag, Victor Cook, and he knows he's getting out of the way. So it was a nice early decision there from Cook. Knows he has pitted, so he's just going to get out of the way and let Giacomo come through. Make that strategy decision. No strategy decisions being made yet between Hind and Maloney at the moment. Still literally half a second between them, as we can see on the Delta. So maybe... Oh, Giacomo does blink and does go into the pits. Oh, nice close to the wall. So Vinton now needs to hold out. Oh, nice entry there. Or at least maybe a lap. I'd give it 2 just to really offset the strategy, just in case Giacomo makes a mistake. Let's have a look at what happened to Hignett. I don't reckon he tapped the brakes. Let's have a look. Oh, he did tap the brakes.
Just a slight tap, and around she goes. I called it. It's the only thing I'm probably good at, is calling up, mistakes, because I do them far too often. So yeah. But unfortunate for Ben, he'll keep going. But massive slide there.
Let's just have a look. I'm just going to see he's just lifted. He didn't even apply the brakes.
I'd be wrong.
Yeah, maybe a bit of aero wash there, and just a bit of compression taken off the car. It's just made it a bit unhappy in the aero department, but he did the right thing and jumped into the pits right after that mistake. Just putting the M4 ahead as well. So Giacomo still in the pits. Semarina has that 15-second penalty to serve. Hind is right on the back of Maloney once again, 3.5 tenths between them, just out of Piff Paff towards Stavolo. See what can be done. So we'll see what can be done. Not a lot's been done. Oh, collision.
That's the one I was
5
talking
seconds.
about.
Yep, that was the one at bus stop.
It just seemed a little bit too aggressive that they would have deemed that as a bump pass. So obviously just a little tap on the shoulders going,
a bit wide there for Hind. That could be a warning.
Would be, but yeah, I think that was just more of a... He did a little bit of an oops. It's nothing too bad. 5 seconds is just to readdress that position, because by the time I probably looked at, obviously readdressing man. Oh, they're both interesting choice, gentlemen.
Well, let's see how much Hind backs this up behind the lane. He's going to get as close as possible, and did. That was really well done, but just lost it trying to get the brakes on and slamming them to get the pit limiter on. So now it's a question of who nails the pit stop, if there's a nailing the pit stop.
well, I mean, as we saw earlier in the chat there, Babs has said the Brain Trust have got this covered for Tom. So let's just see if he can perfect it. But this must feel like an absolute eternity for these two. Obviously, this first part, you just got to slowly trundle your way down. I know some drivers live to go around this little bit here, because it does feel a lot tighter than it actually is. But both
Neither of them did.
yes, neither of them did. But it looks like Connor almost was going down that bloody orange barrier there. So hopefully he didn't get too close to the wall on either side. But at the moment, it's just going to be literally who can nail that pit box entry.
Yeah, absolutely. So coming through, we haven't seen something like this where P1 and P2 have pitted at the same time, or at least in split green for quite some time. So hopefully both the pit boxes are visible for them both. I hope that one for Maloney's not where that other McLaren is sitting, and it's not. I hope they're not sharing a pit box.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Oh, they're one ahead. Oh, that's a tough one for Connor. He couldn't see it because Maloney was in the way, so that's probably advantage Maloney there. I reckon he nailed that one.
Yeah, advantage Maloney, I would dare say, but obviously we're just going to keep on board with them for this time, because obviously we're going to see, obviously we've got to wait 30 seconds for the switch tyres and all that kind of stuff, but obviously Tom will, or should drop down first, I should say, because he obviously did stop his car. Oh, as you see, another car missed their pit box in the background there. It's a bit unfortunate. Oh, as the car vanishes.
Yeah, it does that. So Maloney down. Yeah, Maloney's absolutely nailed that.
So he's got a bit of a gap there, so that was done really well. Obviously not doing the Nosky strategy of screwing up the pit entry, and has gained a bit more time on Connor there.
Yeah, that's exactly what he wants.
Well, look, it's better than what I could have done. So, I mean, advantage, if you're throwing another punch in boxing, it's definitely a nice little jab there to the rib cage of Connor. They're going, look, I did it better than you, and now you can burn your tyres to catch me again.
Well, that's right, but we do know that Connor is more than capable of catching Maloney. He did it just before, didn't quite get there before the pit stop, so maybe them both pitting at the same time has negatively affected Connor, but of course Connor wouldn't have known exactly where Maloney's pit box probably was.
Definitely they wouldn't have had that kind of information, or at least not planned it. I mean, I know some drivers go to massive extents like that, but I don't think either of these two do. They're just incredibly fast, a couple of the drivers, so now this is just raw pace for the next 25 minutes and to see who can come out on top. But as we all know, it's one job to catch the car ahead, but it is definitely another task to get the overtake done. So 25 minutes in this, let's see what happens. This is all laying it out on the line for the championship of AP Green so far, sitting in Tom Maloney's hands, as our other three front runners at the moment, Johnson, Luna, are sitting there in the pits waiting to come out, and we're going to see a bit of a shuffle on the board. Obviously the last few drivers, looks like all the last few drivers except for one, which is Stercolini, hasn't come in for their mandatory pit just yet, judging by that leaderboard at the moment. But Tom will be wanting to get
No, deep.
That is deep. Cold
Probably
tires and
impacting
deep.
too much. I reckon he was actually put off by the Ferrari.
There is a fair chance that he wasn't sure what the Ferrari was going to do, but I think maybe just a bit too excited. Thought he could go for the same brake point as he normally does, but the old cold tyres do play a factor. But now there is a car in the mix a little bit between these two, but I mean, Connor will get a bit of a snow coming out of the Eau Rouge exit here, so be a bit speedy coming up. Let's see how he navigates this blue flag. Does well there on the inside curve. That was potentially a cut.
Yeah, it wasn't far off, so Jones just gets out of the way. Wouldn't move across too early. Connor knowing he's there now, he can move across. So just the inside knowledge from Babsy there saying the car just simply didn't pull up at the bus stop, which is unusual. As of course, maybe the cold tyres had a bit factor in the cold brakes after the pit stop. Didn't particularly want to play ball, so top three still back to Maloney, Hind and Johnson. Some Cluners in there somewhere. Coman's also up in the top 10, does have a 5-second penalty. Vintner has gotten past.
Well, that could have been like pit stop entry.
No, they were fighting. It was I saw a .016 gap between them at some point.
Disregard my thought process then, and
That was not a bad thought process.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Vintner, regardless of the background. Although now Giacomin has got back around Vintner again. So
Oh, great.
they're
Yes.
just fighting. They're just duking it out as all drivers should. Just trading blows for positions on track. But obviously that's going to be a good battle to keep an eye on throughout the rest of the race as well, especially knowing that Vintner can see that Giacomin's got that 5 second pen just lingering over their head. But at the moment, Connor still just on that verge of that 1.5 to 2 second gap, as we knew they had 3 pit stop. We did know that it did get chopped down a little bit closer down to like half a second at one point, or even down to I think it's got 3/10. So we know that Connor has probably the overall pace, but what Tom can do with navigating some blue flags, oh, that looked very close for Tom getting a bit of a kiss there.
Oh, did pull up again. Oh, there's a McLaren pulling ahead. What is this person doing?
That is... Tom had to go into the wall. I dare say there's been massive contact, because Tom is actually behind Connor now.
Yeah, I'm just completely put off by who was who there. We'll have to get a replay on that so we can break that one down a little bit more for you. So, that's not where you want to be, is it?
Unfortunately, something may have been a bit amiss there, but obviously we don't know what actually happened. I just saw that they were very close coming into the braking zone of the bus stop.
Yeah.
But, Connor will be thanking, well, in a sense, thanking the car behind him at the moment. That sort of hindered and helped the overtake on Tom Bell.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one.
It was. But wasn't intentional to dad pun, but I'll take it.
Yeah, you can take it. Yeah,
yeah, I'll claim that one as one of my own. But obviously, this is not probably the way he wanted to gain the position on track at the moment. But unfortunately, that is just the way it is at this stage. But I dare say if that was hindered by that car ahead on Tom, there will be a bit of a pattern coming. But I think we're going to get a replay momentarily.
Yeah, we're hearing reactions in the background.
In the hamster's
potentially
wheel.
What's going on in the hamster's wheel, so we know something's coming. Down through Puon, Connor goes. Doesn't have a lot to worry about at the minute. 5 second gap to Maloney. Maloney's got a 6/10 gap to Johnson, and if Maloney's got any damage potentially, that might bring Johnson back into the mix here. Let's have a look at this. This is what we wanted to see. So Maloney, great run through Blanchimont. Car pulled over. He goes to the inside, gets on the brake. And Maloney moved across in the braking zone, and the McLaren didn't hit its braking point and wall.
Oh yeah, I definitely
Stewards
want to be.
Have at it.
Yeah, I do not want to be in the steward's box right now, nor do I want to be on the conversation side of the engineering crew.
No.
At the moment, but that is unfortunate. That has been his run of luck of recent races. Unfortunately, getting tagged out by no fault of his own. So yeah, good luck and Godspeed.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, good luck with that one. So now Maloney's got damage and Johnson to worry about. This is not what he wanted. I'm just going to put it out there. That's certainly not what he wanted. And you can see a little bit of damage in front of that gingerbread car.
You don't think getting hit in the rear and then sent into the wall is what he wanted?
Well, no, because he's going to have damage on both sides, and that's not good.
No, I think any car you're receiving any kind of wall contact is not ideal. But yeah, I think Tom's a bit of a smooth operator regardless. So I dare say, eyes down, focus on the job again, and see what he can do. As my phone.
Yeah, it had to happen. It had to happen. Down the Camel Straight now they go. Johnson's going to have the slipstream. Maloney's just got to put his head down after that unfortunate incident with a blue flag car. Down to Lecom now. Through a little bit deep there, but pulls up nicely. Great exit. Let's see what he can do. Uses probably all the curb on the inside and some on the outside. Does so. Down to Bruce Howes now. Let's see. Oh, perfect braking point there. Johnson tried to mimic it, but just couldn't do it. It's the same as Maloney. Down towards No-No now, one of the toughest corners for track limits, and keeps it in the limits now. Where's the gaps point-wise now? That's not English, but I'll get there.
Yeah, Connor would be furthering his gap to Tom now currently because he's got faster and obviously
32 points.
There you go. He's extended it slightly just because of what has happened at this point in time, but obviously a little bit to go in the race. Anything can happen. 18 minutes remaining. What's that? That's roughly, oh god, math, 6-7 laps depending on how they cross the line. We'll see how it goes.
So we should have, yeah, maybe even 8 laps. I think the current state of affairs with the time, but we'll keep that one in the back of our minds. Connor and Tom are sort of in their own little world at the moment. Of course, Tom's got Johnson behind, but ahead he's got clean air, so he's got some good track to just do a bit of consistent lapping and not too much pressure from Johnson, because Johnson's just holding on the back just because of the slipstream. So as much as he's been consistent, he's just getting that nice little bit of slipstream, which is keeping him in contention here. And Connor's just got to, of course, keep consistent. We'll see what the gap is across the line. It was 5 seconds up into 6 foot forward. Still pretty good from Tommy, still in the low 17s, even with that, I reckon, at least 10 seconds of damage. So that's a really good effort from him.
Also, his lap times are going to be down due to the contact and the damage that that car will be having. So he's definitely wrestling the car in that aspect compared to what Connor will be doing. But obviously not going to have the raw pace of Connor. Obviously one straight car, one not so straight car. But at the moment, was to say like anything can happen, but Connor is also just out in the middle of no man's land. He hasn't even really got to deal with traffic at this stage. So barring sort of an own personal mistake, which I don't think Connor does very often.
Well, now you've said it.
Now that I've said it, if something does go wrong, then massive curse has happened. But I'm just saying that at the moment, Tom can only sort of wish that something does kind of throw Connor off his game at the moment to allow that gap just to close. Because I think just in terms of raw lap pace at the moment, with that damage, Tom just can't pull it out of the wheelhouse. I'm sorry.
Oh my God, Jesse Lee. Jesse McLean.
What have I missed? Oh, he feels robbed? No?
No, look at that. That's. He's gone full dad pun with that one.
Yes, well done. The old hindsight. Gotta love the dad jokes. I respect them. On board here with the position 2 and 3. Obviously, Johnson sniffing position 2 here off Tom. Can obviously sense the damage of the car ahead. Feels he is slightly better. Obviously, Tom is wrestling the car, as I said previously. So, where is he faster? Where can he get a run? He actually does look like, as we see, a penalty. He gets a drive through collision, which is fair for what happened.
Yep.
But Johnson
absolutely. Or Johnson, I do not want to repeat for Maloney's sake of another incident. He might just, Maloney just placed the car nicely. Johnson just knows where and when is the right time and place, and that certainly wasn't it. Coming out of the bus stop, maybe down the Kendall Straight if he's got the run.
Yeah, I'd definitely say the longer straight sections are going to be the key for Johnson here. I dare say, just the way this track sort of flows and the way that Tom is driving and the actual wheels off that thing being damaged, I think it's just going to be a straight line speed battle. It's the only chance that I think Johnson's going to have at this stage, just by looking at how they're racing one another. So definitely be trying to size him up down the Kendall Straight here or into the bus stop once again if he can just close the gap through the twisty section.
Yeah, absolutely. Johnson's not quite got a run worth going on the inside, but it's enough there for pressure on Maloney. Great on the brakes still, so it's okay. Nothing should fear. The car actually, for considering the incident, the car doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, as I say, it's not the worst I've seen a car after clipping the wall like that. So it's running with some damage. I'm not sure how much, but I'd say it's somewhere in the vicinity of that 10-15 second bracket. So probably not the worst thing to be driving, but also it wouldn't be feeling fantastic either. But just as a point out that Connor has also gained another second over these two at the moment. That could be partly because of the damage of Maloney, but also the fact that they two are technically battling for position. So this is definitely falling into Connor's hands as we speak. But Johnson here much closer on the rear diffuser here of Maloney. You definitely want to be probably a little bit close coming out of Stavlot here to try and get the run up into the bus stop, which looks like he's got a much better drive. Tom's car just looks a little bit uneasy through there. This could be that, as I said, carrying the damage is not going to do well, but Johnson well and truly going to get a nice little helping hand here with the toe coming up into the bus stop. Which way does he go? Is he going to go around the outside, or is he going to try and go on the inside?
Well, I'm a little bit worried here because Johnson took out Maloney last week at Monza.
yes, that did happen.
At turn 1, yeah. I didn't really want to bring that up, but I thought it should be noted. Oh, Connor's on it.
Connor's decided, no, I'm out of here.
Yeah, he knows he's got the advantage anyway, but he wants to ensure his P1. 8 seconds ahead now. There's a little bit of battling going on between these two again. So Johnson needs a good exit out of here. And I'm not sure he got that. The car looked a little bit slidey, but of course the slipstream might tell me otherwise. He's extremely close. So is it going to be enough? We'll see. It hasn't been able to catch him being this close in the slipstream, so I'm wondering whether maybe Johnson's running a bit more wing than Maloney. We'll just keep an eye on this one. Good run, though, over the top. Is it going to be enough for Johnson to stick the nose in this time? He could stick it in here, but yeah, decides just to back out at the last seconds. A good decision overall through the cum. Now they come. And see, yeah, Johnson just looking a little bit slidey. Maloney a bit planted in comparison down to Bruxelles now. And Maloney just seems to pull away through the middle sector. Can't quite contain Johnson on the straights though.
Yeah, I think with the damage, the sort of slower section, which is this middle section, in terms of like the raw speed through some of the corners, is helping Tom. Whereas obviously once we open up the throttle a little bit, you can easily see the advantage switches to Johnson. That's just probably because of the front end damage that the car has received. As I said, Johnson here closing that gap and back up here once again through that faster corner, but through these slow ones, as I said, it kind of narrows that advantage a little bit. But let's see how he goes through this path here and the entry and exit of Stavler. Tom goes a little bit wide there by that camera angle in my eyes, but nails the next apex. Let's see what happens here. Let's see if Johnson gets a decent run here up here to try and go into the bus. Not as close as he was last time, so I don't say the move's going to be on this time, but you know, still 11 minutes of racing to go. Anything can happen, and we'll see if Johnson can. There it is again. The phone's doing.
Yeah, it's good.
Lovely point.
Yeah. We've still got 6 laps in this one, so or do we? My maths, no, 5 laps. My maths isn't that good.
Yeah, look, Connor's fast. I don't think he's that fast.
He's certainly not far off, but that way, yeah. He runs pretty fast in here. I mean, top 3 have just been brilliant all season. Johnson's had a few moments, so has Maloney, so has Hines. So no one has come out of this season unscathed, unfortunately, for them. Seeing that the last 2 rounds for Maloney, of course, we saw it Hines a little bit earlier, copping some penalties, and even earlier in the year, Hines had a bit of a rough start. So not so clean for some.
Yeah, all drivers are carrying their battle wounds from the season. I mean, it has been a bit of a long season compared to a few others. So, as we see, the move is probably on here. No, decides once again, no, not going to go for it. Probably the best decision there. Just going to wait until he does really get that opportunity to just stick the nose where it belongs, rather than potentially having a 50-50 move take place and then both cars get destroyed. But so far, status quo is staying as is, and Connor is just enjoying the fact that he's still battling. He's now got a 9-second gap over these two, so the fact that he's in no man's land as well definitely helping the advantage go to Connor. But these two are definitely showing the masterclass of battling each other, especially obviously, as we said, one car not looking too nice and pointy, the other one is. And the Castro literally always does look very nice across any car I have seen.
Yeah, absolutely. The rookie's evolved. Castrol, Gap NSW livery, in fact. So just wrecking his boys there over at Rockets Evolved. Down through Stavelo now. Come nice, a bit of a slide there for Johnson, so that gives Maloney the chance to get away pretty quickly.
And that little bit of breathing space that Tom probably needs. Not that he wants, but he probably needs more the appropriate terminology there. But there's a bit of red mist in that cabin of that gingerbread car at the moment. And you can see that obviously he was out in front, but unfortunately got tangled up in an incident with a blue flag car a fair few laps back. But once again, Johnson not quite close enough to get the job done into the bus stop chicane there, and we go around the board once again. And with just on 8 minutes remaining, 4-ish laps, depending on actually no, it'd be about it would be 4 laps. I was going to say 5.
Yeah, it'd be 4 laps. Yeah.
Connor's Looking very speedy out in front. That gap has extended again by another half a second because of the close battle here. But Johnson is much closer going into the Eau Rouge Radion complex.
Oh, a bit of a bump there for Johnson. He's going to, yeah, he's just gone straight on. That's a warning, guarantee you that one. No lifting there, wanted the run. But if he tries to get this one done, I reckon the stewards might be getting in his ear. So maybe he just needs to hold back.
Which he does. That is a smart play there. There would have been a, can you give that position back, because he would have gained a fair advantage with that little cut there through the exit of Eau Rouge there, but took the better part of it and just decided, nah, I'll hold my position. So hats off to you there, Johnson. Good choice.
Yeah, just decided to hold back. I reckon even if he had looked at the move, he probably would have tried to go for it knowing that he gained the advantage. Down towards Poohan again, we just see our leader kind of behind in the bottom right, just enjoying life at the moment. 7 minutes to go, whereas Maloney's probably not so much enjoying life with the damage and one Johnson behind him.
No, I think if I was to choose which one I'd rather be right now, I'd definitely be in Connor's position. There is something, I guess, satisfying and to a point, and also boring, being in that so-called no man's land, where you can just sort of, do your hot laps. You can actually just, you can see all the corners, you can see your braking points, you can do it. You don't have to worry about the stress of what's going on around you with other cars, whereas Maloney here, unfortunately, has the red-hot glare of the Castrol McLaren behind him of Luke Johnson, so that's obviously going to be playing into his factor as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Through Blanchimont now. Oh, Maloney just keeping it within the limits. So Connor comes across the line. There is going to be 3 laps left in this one. So if Johnson wants to get something done, I'd probably be looking to do it sooner rather than later.
Last lap overtake?
I really hope not.
And look, it wouldn't be the first time we've seen, and it sure as hell will not be the last there, as Johnson goes real deep there into the braking zone of turn 1, which is going to give Maloney a nice little breather coming up through Radion Rouge and then down Kemmel. As you can see, the gap there is quite extensive now, both to Connor ahead, and obviously now was at half a second behind Johnson, which is probably one of the biggest gaps we've seen between these two in the last probably 5 laps or so. But
pretty close between these two. Interesting thing to note though, I reckon Gia Coman's actually caught Kong because he's up into P4 and had pulled out that 5-second gap he needed from Vintiner with that penalty, but is he going to pull 5 seconds to Kong in 3 laps? I don't think so.
Not unless he's incredibly, like a second and a half quicker in the next 3 laps. But Luca has been known to be that quick against other drivers. So, look, I wouldn't put it out of the capability of his wheelhouse there. But as I said, we are running out of laps to make sure he can gap that car and maintain P4. But at the moment, he will be dropping back down to P5 because of that 5-second pen. But other than that, the only other shuffle in the top 10 might be Smith over Hignett. But I dare say the gap there is greater than 10 seconds. No, Hignett would actually keep him at the moment. So yeah, Smith will lose position out to Hignett at this point. But as I said, still a couple laps of racing to go, ending in a change, and Spa is a bit brutal for that, but Johnson right back on the rear of Tom here.
Yeah, the gaps have been pretty spread out between most of the drivers throughout the field. The only real other one he's got is Smith and Cicluna, but of course Smith's got that 10 seconds, so it's not really going to affect the positions there. You've got Greco and Barker also on Hignett, so a couple of battles in there. It's just sort of in the middle of the race, you didn't see a whole lot of battling. It was more so a bit of a strategic play from a lot of drivers. Johnson sticking the nose out again just to try and put the pressure on Maloney, but Maloney's having absolutely none of it.
Yep, giving him absolute donuts there. As much as the tricks are in the skill set of everyone, Tom is not really one to fall for that kind of move at that late point into the braking zone as well. So 2 laps remaining at the moment. I dare say at this stage, I haven't really seen Johnson be absolutely so much faster than Tom, where I've seen the move being potentially going to happen. At the moment, being where he is not close enough to get another run off Kemmel here. But stranger things have happened, as we see these two both nailing the exit there. One a little bit more stable than the other. But I don't really see it happening at this stage. I think Tom may have the skills and just the pace advantage where it counts to hold Johnson at bay.
Yeah, absolutely. If anyone can hold Johnson off, it's going to be Maloney, of course, and they're in the same piece of machinery, so it's a pretty even battle. Of course, the only real difference is the driver and the setup. So, of course, there's reasonably big differences in those cases. They might be running the same setup for all we know, but there's two very different drivers here, two different styles of driving. Of course, being very respectful of each other throughout this battle. On the second to last lap here through Puon they go. A little touch wide there for Maloney, but it might have been to get the better exit, which Johnson didn't get. Maybe he's going to stick the nose out again. Doesn't want to stick the nose in as of yet. So through Piff Paff now on the exit towards Stavolo. See how Johnson handles this one. A little bit later on the brakes, but it's not really prioritising the exit like Maloney is, looking at the way he is driving. They've got the blue flag on head, looking at the number. It's Victor Cook. It is, and wide goes Johnson. So everything to play for here. Hines going to be coming onto the final lap in just a minute. We'll stay on board here with Maloney and Johnson for the minute. Through Blanchimont now. Johnson's probably going to stick the nose out again. Can't do anything under brakes because Maloney's just been absolutely clinical under the brakes through to the bus stop. We've got Victor Cook, who I'd say probably wants to get out of the way sooner rather than later, and does.
Yeah, he does the perfect blue flag for both these races. So, final lap of the race here. Johnson has only really got about, what, 17 corners? Well, no, there's more than that. There's like 20-something corners of this track to actually try and get the job done. It does look a lot closer here. Well, this is his best chance right now, getting this run down up here through the Radion Eau Rouge complex down the
Still don't think it's close enough.
Yeah, I just don't think it's enough. I mean, it all
He
depends.
basically needs to be giving him a sniff in the gearbox to get anywhere.
He is close. I mean, he's only about a car length. Does look like he's got a much better run now. Tom's probably going to have to defend and fix the middle of the track, which he does. He's going to try and force Johnson to go wide. Obviously, that's going to compromise the entry and exit of the complex here of Lacombs. Has to still give racing room, which he does. Johnson mounts the curve a little bit. It's a bit slidey. Tom still has the inside line. Yep, switch back might be on, but then loses the rear again. So now he's got about half a lap to try and get back on that rear diffuser and gearbox of that car to try and get this move done. Probably into either Piff Paff if he can nail the exit of Puon, or the final chicane of bus stop.
He's looking a little bit slidey now, is Johnson, so he's going to have to do something here if he wants to get past Maloney, but I don't think his chances are very high at the moment as Crick decides that he wants another drive through for good measure.
Well, it is a bit brutal at this stage of the game. And I'm sure once we get to the Spa 24 hour at the end of the year, there'll be many DTs per track limit. So Tom looks like he gets slightly wide there, but I think we're still within the limits. Coming up to the final section here, as we also, if you just have a geezer down to the bottom right, Connor's coming up to the bus stop for the final time, and is potentially going to get a very nice braking zone entry here, and also through the bus stop. Does it perfectly as always. Clinical display here, and is going to come across the line for a well-deserved P1 and also championship win. As Johnson tries to go around the outside into bus stop. It was his last-ditch effort. Unfortunately, Tom nailed the bus stop and is going to take out P2. Also a well-deserved drive. Unfortunate what happened, and Johnson takes out P3 and also the win in silver glass.
Yeah, absolutely. Well played. Giacomin pulled out half the time that he needed from Kong, but it's not going to be enough, so he's going to have to settle with P5 after penalties being applied. Vintner did drop back a fair bit, so he's going to stick in P6. But Brian Kong had a great race, wins the Pro-Am class of this race, takes P5, and will turn it to P4 with the penalty from Giacomin. Vintner comes across the line for P6 overall. Hingston will not be too far behind for P7, so Clune's going to come in at P8. Smith with that penalty will come right behind. Hignet's probably not too far behind either. Don't think that Smith's going to get away with that penalty, and doesn't. No, he's definitely not going to get away with that one. Almost
He's going to drop down
Oh, I
almost
reckon maybe almost
P12.
P12. My maths isn't that on point. Oh, I reckon he might, and it might be by about 100th as well.
It's going to be close, unfortunately. That pen is looming over the head there of Smith and does drop, although he did just sort of left the server there.
He just left the server, so we'll see
we
that when we
can't
go to the
confirm
result.
that. And obviously, Crick didn't do his GT, so he gets a penalty for a stop-go 30 as well, which is a fair taxing penalty. But at the moment, just waiting for the remaining drivers to complete their last little bit of the season lap around Spa. As we're on board here with Thircolini at the moment, just coming up into the bus stop for the last time this season, driving the Porsche. Might be in it again next season. Who knows?
Who knows? No one knows.
No one knows what the drivers choose at the end of the day. I mean, some do multiple seasons in the car, and some don't. If you're like me, you change cars almost every race.
Yeah.
And every season because I'll try this one, and I'll try this one now, and I'll try this one. But we get there.
Just deep there from James, comes across the line to finish the race here at Spa. I think we've got one final driver that is popping across the line. Here's Sadiwa just coming down to the bus stop now. And
has decided not to finish the race.
Oh, it's finished.
Oh, no, he's already
yeah,
finished.
he's already finished. That's okay. He just wanted to do another lap. Well, that's nice.
That's fine. That's Kunos features.
Yep.
And it has a lovely joys of like waiting forever to tick over
to tick over. Yeah, this is good. This is great. We'll eventually get to the results.
We will.
Of course, people will have left and won't show the full results until we switch over to the next session. And eventually, here we go.
Here we
yeah,
go.
we'll
And
get there.
take it away.
Oh, Smith did get down to P12. So overall in the race, Connor Hine takes the win. As Maloney jumps in P2 there, Johnson P3. In the silver class, Johnson did take the win. Hingston not too far behind, and Cicluna not too far behind for the top three. In the Pro-Am class, we do have Kong who takes the win. Well-deserved, great race overall. Danny taking P2 and Thircolini taking P3. And in the lovely Am class, Greco takes the win. Yuzman gets P2 with that 10-second penalty, and Semolina takes P3 in the Am class for the last race of the season, Mr. Bubnow.
Yes, and what a season it has been. Hats off round to all the drivers throughout the 10 rounds, I believe. And also to the stewards and obviously everyone in chat that tunes in and watches us here for AP Green and obviously Yellow. And obviously, once again, there is more racing to come. We still have 2 more splits tomorrow night of Blue and Red, and obviously the US and Europe season, as well as the GT Cup on Friday.
Sure do. Make sure to stay tuned in for those here on OOR. Thank you, everyone in chat, for joining us. Thank you for joining me in the comms box, Mr. Bubnow.
My pleasure.
And please do stay tuned in. Tomorrow night, we'll see Split Blue and Split Red on display here for the final round at Spa. And, of course, same in the North America and European splits. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And thank you to Glenn for putting together the stream.
Yep. Thanks all. See you next time.